Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to PSGL here once again for yet more action in the PC Championship. And I have to say, it's going to be a cracker. We're at Monza, the Italian Grand Prix, here at PSGL. And I'm here with Jack Cannan. Jack, have you recovered after Silverstone?
But the championship is going down to the wire. There's only 6 rounds left, and it's now between Preschnader and Josh Idawu.
Absolutely, Jack. I do apologise. For some reason, your feed wasn't coming through correctly through the settings. So I do apologise for that.
That was on purpose, George. Just admit it.
I know. I just honestly, for some reason, the feed was coming through default, so it was only showing the game volume. But I don't know what happened there. It just seemed to have re-changed the settings, which is really strange. But anyway, folks, after that little technical fault, we do apologise, and Jack will now be heard loud and clear. Hello, everybody. I can already see the chat log beginning to really fly through now. Ozan Dogru, One Chanakinchi, John Stredwick, perfect start, lads. CRG, Kryptonite, can't hear Jack. John Stedwick, haha, I can't hear him. Lots of people saying they can't hear you, Jack, but obviously now they can. So I'm not sure whether you want to relay any more information based on that superb Silverstone and British Grand Prix that we had last time out. It was an amazing finale, and I have to say, really exciting. A pleasure to commentate over as well. Lots of incredible battling, and I hope we get to see more of that tonight as well.
Yeah, of course. For those of you that didn't see it, go right now. It'll only take a few seconds. Go right now to the previous round. Go to lap 23. Watch that move again from Tony Moreno. I mean, it's been on repeat all week. He even tweeted it out as well. I mean, he enjoyed it himself, but greatest move in league racing that I've seen. Greatest battle as well. Josh Idawu and Alessia Di Capua going at it right now. And the thing about that as well is that it was just super clean as well. I mean, they didn't take each other out. They gave each other room. And that's proper racing. So looking forward to this today as well, because it's going to be very close around here. The slipstream trains are going to be in full force here today as well. So this is going to be great. Lots of overtaking opportunities, plenty. It's the track with the highest average speed on the whole calendar as well. So you couldn't really call a winner. Qualifying is going to be really close, and we're ticking down to the start of the lobby at the moment.
Absolutely. It will not be long, folks, before we get into the nitty-gritty of course, qualifying. It's going to be very interesting, and obviously, lots of question marks to be raised as well, because obviously, as you quite well know, Monza, a very quick circuit. Lots to look forward to in terms of the track itself, and certainly with the number of chicanes, of course, the Ascari chicane, most notably, lots of overtakes tend to happen down there as well. And then you also have the long straight before you reach the Parabolica. Where are the key sections, Jack, that we can expect lots of action to be held throughout this circuit, obviously during the race?
Everywhere.
There you go. You heard it
everywhere.
First.
I mean, okay, so if we start off the main straight, of course, you got the braking zone for turn 1. That's your biggest and slowest braking point. So that's going to be key overtaking opportunity. Curva Grande, that, of course, is going to give you a run into the second chicane. Probably the place with the least action that you're going to see is most likely the run between the Lesmos. So Lesmo 1, Lesmo 2. Very little happens there. It's usually just a follow job. And then the run down to Ascari, of course. That's another DRS section. So that's going to be a key point as well to line you up to go into the Parabolica. So actually, there's only one section of this one, really, that you're not going to see any overtakes unless it gets a bit insane, as Lesmo 1 and Lesmo 2. So keep your eyes peeled for that, of course. And but it is going to be a very interesting qualifying because, of course, no slipstream in qualifying. They're not going to be giving the slipstream to each other. You can't do that in qualifying as far as I'm aware. And we've also, just to point out as well, that the stewards will be keeping an eye on the pit exit line. Of course, the pit exit line goes a long way down into turn 1. So if there will be penalties for people who infringe over that line, as it would be normally in real life. So that's one key point that we have to keep in mind in this one as well. But definitely really some great stuff coming up on your screens tonight as well. And as far as we know, it's a full dry qualifying and everyone's coming out immediately.
They are all coming out very shortly. We will take our cameras over to qualifying, folks. All the drivers are now starting to make their way onto the track here in Q1. Jack, obviously, we got some team news as well concerning Haas. Of course, Simon Weigang recently appointed by Sauber as their driver permanently. Of course, he's now part of the Veloce family. And that also means that Lewis Welch now moves again, this time from Alfa Romeo and over to Haas. So I've got to say, a big recruit for Alfa Romeo, Simon Weigang, a very popular character and a very, very good staunch professional.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was in that battle. Remember, of course, last week at Silverstone, battling with the top guys. Ended up, of course, losing the podium because of Josh Ryder getting his penalty removed. So he is in this one. That was the last time that we'll see him in a Haas. So that was a key point as well in that one. But because of that, of course, Lewis moves over to Haas, and we did like to point this out. Poor old Lewis. This is his third team in PSGL. He started off in Merck, of course, got kicked out because Danny Moreno was announced from Mercedes. Then, of course, moved over to Alfa Romeo, and now suddenly Simon Weigang decides he wants to get into the Alfa. So Lewis now moves to Haas alongside Flores Veres, of course, who we now know, of course, is also a free agent, George. So there's plenty of stuff in the F1 esports world that we need to keep our eyes on. But as per usual, we also have the traditional opening to Q1, and the drivers are out in intermediates.
They are indeed. The standard here in PSGL, of course. Many of them liking to take the intermediates out onto track to at least get, I suppose, a warm-up lap going. Usually we see a lot of it, and I know you always tend to like watching Fabrizio Donoso usually go out on these intermediate tyres. Of course, he's not here today, so we are without him, unfortunately, but we are witnessing Domenico Lavecce making his way down now, and we got Alberola, who's out too. Lewis Welch as well in his new team. He's out and about as well, also on the intermediate tyres. So this is a common factor that you will notice. There, of course, is Flores Veres as well. He's out. So he's got an invalidation on his lap. Obviously, don't read too much into these opening laps, folks. You will not witness too many hot laps on these tyres. Obviously, you can, as you can judge there from the Haas, I think that was actually Veres who made a mistake at the Ascari.
Well, actually, I remember from Silverstone we had the lobby crash. Of course, I was enjoying my replacement for Fabrizio Donoso was actually Flores, because he loves to get this car sideways on intermediate tires as well. You can see him through the parabolica. There's just absolutely no grip on these tires in these conditions, of course. So the drivers are just going to run through these intermediates. If you are unfamiliar as to why they are doing this, it is to save a set of soft tires. It's to save a set of tires to head into Q2, of course. It's very important so that you have that extra tire available. They haven't been told that they can't do this, and they will find any loophole they can to try and save any little bit of tire that they can. So it is interesting stuff to watch, but it's merely to save a set of tires and to get an opening run in. And we have our first dry time at least with Julian Naumann, well, quickly taken away by his teammate, Jorge Alberola, but then how about that Lavecce goes faster on intermediates.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant from Domenico Lavecce, and goes considerably faster, in fact, 1.233 seconds from Tom Martinez, who quickly dips into P2, so good showing there from Tom Martinez, albeit though, folks, obviously, very early goings on here in the PSGL PC Championship here at Monza, and I can assure you that we will be seeing them head out and about very shortly on the faster tyres, because they will need to start challenging each other to get into Q2, and that's when things will start hotting up. I can predict that will probably start happening around about with 6 minutes remaining, and that is when we'll start to see a lot of the quicker compounded tyres entering the track. So, of course, Lavecce now on P1, Dario Iamulo there in P2, Flores Veres into P3, and there you've got Martinez P4, Jorge Alberola. There is Philip Presneder, of course, challenging Barry Burman for the championship. Currently level on points, Jack, as you earlier stated. Nothing between them. Currently, both of them, 51 points.
Yeah, but I think Philip, he'll be angry that it's not more. He should really be in front after Barry's, of course, absences. But Philip, of course, caught up in that instant as Zandvoort didn't have the greatest race in Silverstone either. So this is the opportunity now for him to nip in front. But the gap between himself and Josh Idawu is 7 points. So there's 8 points heading into this one. So there's very little to separate them. But of course, Barry missing once again. It is really now the opportunity for Philip to try and take this championship lead. Of course, driving for Ferrari at home with Tifosi out in force. But a big day as well for Red Bull, because they are a full Italian team. Domenico Lavecce and Dario Iamulo looking to try and do it for the Italian fans. We'll see if they can do that. But yeah, a big day for Ferrari, for Philip Presneder and for Tom 97, of course, with the home fans. but we'll see if he's going to be able to nip in front heading to the next round. Only 6 rounds left, so every point counts now.
Yeah, it's getting into the nitty-gritty of the season now. We're running on board currently with Dormeyer, who is driving the Renault here today. He's on the soft compounded tyre, so looking to go quicker here right now. He's making his way through the Ascari chicane, and you can see that very glistening helmet as well. Obviously the Galaxy look on his head, of course, and as you can witness him, let's see if he can be a shooting star and land his car on the top spot. Of course, currently an invalid lap time, but it is his opening out lap, so we'll very shortly see him cross the line to start his fast lap, as we now witness Dormeyer now out to the Parabolica. Here he comes. Let's join him for a hot lap here around Monza. Let's unleash the Halo system as well as he makes his way across the line and commences his flying lap. You can see 8th gear all the way down now, heading towards the 100-meter board. Brakes and goes straight into the bend. You want to take a lot of the curb on the inside on the outset, powering into turn 2. And that is, of course, the Rettifilio chicane now heading around turn 2, which is the Curva Grande. And as he does so, wants to keep close to the inside, of course, making the tighter line work for him here as he makes his way towards the Rogier chicane. Breaks in between the 100 and the 50, just coasts the car through. Purple Sector 1, as you'd expect, given the fact that he's on the softer compounded tyre, around the first Lesmo. And very shortly around turn 5, that being the second Lesmo corner. And very nice and silky smooth indeed from the Renault driver. Dormeyer looking to knock himself on the top spot for the initial grounds of Q1, of course. Still a long way to go there as he makes his way down the Serigilio into the Ascari chicane now. And down to 5th, straight up to 6th again, up into 7th. And very nicely done on the outset. Goes purple in Sector 2 again. Once again, as you'd expect, heading down the stretch, now towards the Parabolica bend. Now, this will be in between the 100 and the 50, more like the 50, actually. Hugs on the inset, up into 5th, up into 6th, and very shortly up to 7th as well. Hugs the inside line towards the pit wall, and indeed, as he crosses the line, it's going to be a 1:17.958. Solid lap there from Dormeyer, but of course, it's early doors yet. Plenty of times in the offering.
Yeah, great stuff. I was keeping an eye on the speed trap going down into Ascari. 212 miles an hour on the brakes into Ascari. That's insane speed. And 206 on the entry to Parabolica with no DRS. That is the sheer speed we're talking here. But now you can clearly see now the difference between intermediates and dries on a dry track. It's 10 seconds is the difference between these tyres. So now the drivers are all out on soft tyres. Apart, interestingly enough, Tom Martinez has decided he wants to have a go on the medium tyres and save the soft tyres for save an extra set once again. He really wants to keep an extra set of soft tyres handy, but if he only needs to be in the top 16, of course, top 15. But because of how close this grid is, that could be a bit of a risky move. But he's obviously confident to have it a go.
Yeah, it's a bold strategy, certainly, Jack. I mean, if you think about it, the medium tyres you'd only expect to be unleashed in Q2. That is, of course, when you can actually land something, certainly for the grid positions, because that's when the tyres come into effect, because you take those tyres into the race that you qualify on in Q2. So you would have firmly expected him to raise the mediums off the stacks indeed for that one. But interesting strategy to bring them out in Q1. Very interesting indeed, as Lewis Welch makes his way down towards the Parabolica. What would you say is the purpose of doing that in Q1? Is it literally just to save the soft tyres? Because, like I say, it sort of defeats the object slightly, doesn't it? You might be at risk of going out in Q1 here.
Yeah, but I think it is to save a set of tyres for Q2, because it's going to get competitive in that Q2. So maybe having an extra set of fresh tyres might give him a small advantage. But it's an interesting call, but we'll see what he's able to do with that now as he comes through at first chicane. But I think he got that a little bit wrong coming in there, or just kind of over-rotated on the first part. But he managed to get it back. So we've got a big load of hot laps beginning right now. So we're going to keep our eye on this. Currently now, Domenico Levecce, he's just set the fastest first second, which is promptly taken away by Lewis Welch. So he's the fastest man currently on the circuit. Brufair's invalidated this lap. Levecce invalidated his lap. Julian Naumann's invalidated. So everyone's pushing the limits of this one. Flores Veers invalidates his lap. So at the moment, we're looking now, there was Lewis Welch with the fastest sector, which is now taken away by the young Spaniard, Nicolas Mateo in the Williams.
Absolutely. We're just watching Lewis Welch now powering out of the Ascari chicane. He's heading down the stretch. Very shortly, he will head around the Parabolica. And as he does so, green in the first 2 sectors, obvious improvement because obviously he started on the intermediate tyres. You'd firmly expect him to improve on soft tyres as he now rounds the Parabolica, looking to go quicker than Dormeyer, which he looks like he's going to do as he makes his way across the line. And it's certainly going to be. In fact, he wasn't quicker. He is actually 1.5 tenths off. And Tom Martinez comes home into P3. Dario Iamulo there into P3 now, overtakes Martinez, who is 1.4 seconds back, or nearly 1.5 seconds back, as Nicholas Matteo, Jack, like you quite rightly said, hits himself on top spot, goes faster than Dormeyer, and looking good, 117.829, the fastest lap, but in comes Mattis, a sensational lap, top spot, goes 1.5 tenths quicker.
Yeah, Josh Idu was going faster, but he backed out at the last moment. So I wonder what's happened there. Keeping an eye on this right now as Timon shoots it. He was the fastest man in Sector 1. Is this now going to be the fastest time we're going to see? He comes across line. No. 5th place for Timon shoots it. We just saw Alvaro Caraton pop to 4th, and Moreno now. It's a Mercedes 1-2 here in Italy at the moment. Big surprise. Van Erven though, but now here comes Longue out of nowhere, and he goes to the top of the standings by 0.08 of a second. But that was a great effort from Nicholas Longue, fastest Sector 1 and that one out of that one. But right now, actually, we have, I believe, Matteo is also now on another improvement at the moment. Just went fastest in Sector 2.
Yeah, he's currently purple Sector 1 and 2 here, Jack, according to our screens here, as he now rounds the Parabolica. Can the Williams go top spot and tip the balance on their Mercedes counterparts and the Renault, of course? Both of them engine suppliers of Williams in the past as he crosses the line into P1 at 117.549, half a tenth quicker than Nicholas Longue. Absolutely superb by the young Spaniard.
Yeah, 10th and a bit in front for himself there. The good stuff from Nicholas Matteo. So he's done a great effort there. It was that Sector 2 that he managed to pull that time in. So really good job from him. But we have now a couple more still to come. So 5 minutes left in Q1. Currently the man who's just about making it in is Julian Naumann, but still no time from Valentin Bruffair, from Chana Kinshi, Josh Idu, no time yet. Dylan Warren, no time. Ruben Vallejo, no time. And they're only going to have one more run after this to try and improve. So this is now a crucial one for Josh Idu. I'm not sure why he backed out of his lap that time. Maybe it was an invalidation, or maybe he just wasn't happy with it. But Josh Idu absolutely needs this right now, because Philip Preschnader, he's 13th at the moment. I'm sure he's on an improvement at the moment, and he's actually is about to improve right now. He's sitting 13th. This should rocket him up the order a little bit here, and he needs to rocket himself up the order. If Josh Idu gets knocked out in Q1, that'll be a big one for him as he comes now across the start-finish line. Philip Preschnader should improve here as he comes across the line. There he goes to second behind Nicholas Matteo. That's exactly what he needs to do.
Yeah, purple in Sector 3 as well, so a great showing there certainly from that man indeed, Philip Preschnader. We're now witnessing what looks to be an Alfa Romeo X in the box. That could be Valentin Bruffair, or it could be Chana Kinshi, both of them out and about. In fact, right now, and in fact it is Chana Kinshi who's just left. Bruffair is actually on a hot lap here, making his way down towards the Parabolica bend. Let's see if he can go quicker, because he's gone green in the first 2 sectors, though he would have done yet to set a time as he now rounds the Parabolica bend. Where can Bruffair land himself? In fact, I believe he should rocket himself up too. Is he now across the line? P6. And just in behind that of Danny Moreno. Both Mercedes currently lined up in Ps 4 and 5, and the Alfa Romeo slots in P6 ahead of Alvaro Caraton and Dario Iamulo and Domenico Levecce. So he's in good company, Valentin Bruffair, and a very, very good staunch talent as well, Jack.
Yeah, of course, Valentin Bruffair, for those of you might know him as Vasta Racer, of course, running with his real name this time. But here's a man who needs to get himself out of Q1. Dylan Warren begins his hot lap, and as always, his fans are out in force here to try and get this man out of Q1. Was knocked out in Q1 last time, so he's wanted to get himself out of this one. And now we've just seen, funnily enough, the drivers beginning to retire. They seem to be happy where they are. They seem to be pretty confident that they're not going to be knocked out in this one. So really big happenings here. The first 5, the top 5, have all retired, and they're confident that they're not going to be knocked out of position. They only need to make it into the top 15, so no big problems for that. But Dylan Warren, he's on the lap right now. He should be able to improve, but I believe he's actually backed out of it. Yeah, he's backed out. He's going to go for another run. But a big one now. Absolutely has to get it right. Josh Idawu warming up his tyres on the back straight.
Yeah, both racing points in jeopardy here. Ruben Vallejo yet to nail a fast lap himself. Dylan Warren actually invalidated that last run heading in and out of the Rogier chicane. So it's all now on this final lap as Ruben Vallejo crosses the line as well. Josh Idawu out on an out lap as well. Chana Kinchi is doing the same thing too. And so you've got a string of drivers here, as you now see. What looks to be Josh Idawu now crossing the line. Chana Kinchi, who's gone green in the first two sectors. So there's 4 drivers yet who've yet to nail lap times. Currently, at this moment in time, Nicholas Mateo is your man on top spot. Chana Kinchi is invalidated, heading around the Ascari chicane, so that's going to cost him as well. Josh Idawu out and about, so is Dylan Warren. Ruben Vallejo, who I believe has walked into a little bit of, certainly problems himself. He's actually invalidated too, Jack. So Ruben in a lot of problems right now. Dylan Warren heading around the next chicane, looking to power out as well, try and land himself in the top 10, but looks like he's having a rough time too. But Josh Idawu, who's also on a fast lap as what looks to be Ruben Vallejo, lets him by, or that could be Dylan Warren, we're not quite sure, as we now witness Josh Idawu currently coming through the next Ascari chicane now. Can Idawu land himself on the top end of this classification? He's chasing Philip Presnader for something at the end of this qualifying session, and certainly the race. We've got a minute left in this qualifying session. The Welshman, Josh Idawu, round the final corner here at the Parabolica bend, crosses towards the line now, as you can now see the orange McLaren bursting through amongst the stands here. The Tifosi lighting up, as indeed Josh Idawu, P13, just lands himself 0.6 of a second outside of Nicholas Mateo's time, and yet that's not enough to break into the top 10 as Dylan Warren lands a 118. It was valid, Jack.
Yeah, it was. He's knocked it. That's not a great lap from Josh Idawu. He's not safe at all at this moment in time. If anyone improves, if he gets knocked down 2 positions, he will be out in Q1. And we have multiple people on improvements at the moment. So that could have been a bit of an error there for Josh Idawu with 14 plays. Jorge Alberola, can he improve his position? Yes, he can. Josh Idawu on the bubble. He only needs to get knocked down 1 position. And I think the man who could do it could be... there he goes. Josh Idawu is out in Q1, the story of the day.
Yeah, Josh Idawu out of qualifying, folks, after a rough start as Flores Spears goes off wide as well, but he's still going. A bit of a mistake coming out of the Ascari chicane. We'll have to see how much that affects him. He's currently in P19. Needs an improvement here. He's currently 10 seconds off the pace of Nicholas Mateo as he now rounds the Parabolica. It's key that he gets this right as he comes up towards the line. Will it be enough for the Haas driver? As he crosses the line now, P18, he goes 1 place above where he was, so he's out too. Martinez out as well. Vallejo, as well, as he comes across, rounds the final corner. Ruben Vallejo looking to try and break out of the bottom. He certainly does. P6, just under 1.5 of a second, just behind Nicholas Mateo. So there will be a racing point. Well, both racing points heading into Q2. Amazing stuff indeed. And that relegates not only Josh Idawu, but also Chana Kinchi, Lewis Welch, Julian Nauman, Flores Fears, and Tom Martinez finishing at the back as well, Jack.
He's on a fast lap though, on 8/10 up on his best, so can Tom 97 maybe sneak himself in here? Martinez through the Parabolica, can he get both Ferraris into Q2 here? Comes across the start-finish line now. Does he do it? No, he can't do it. 19th and remains on the back row of the grid. So Ferrari out in Q1, Philip Presnader in second, but the big story, Josh Idawu out of Q1. Lewis Welch also out, but it was less than 1/10 of a second to make it in, and Josh Idawu not making it through. So that is a big one for the championship. Of course, he's only 8 points behind Philip Presnader, but crucially Presnader through into Q2. So they've done that. But the man on the bubble, Chana Kinchi, just sneaking in there in 15th spot. So, drama already in this one. But I'm really surprised Josh Idawu knocked out.
Yeah, absolutely. It was so tight. But yeah, big surprise, Jack. You are spot on. Josh Idawu not able to make it into Q2. And I suppose one of the biggest fairy tale finishes was Nicholas Mateo. Very rarely do we see him hitting the top end, certainly. And he's done it this time. He is currently up into P1. And that's the end of qualifying, folks. That is absolutely sensational. Tom 97 out. So is Josh Idawu. Some really incredible names out in the early stages of this Italian Grand Prix qualifying. But there's your P1 sitter. That's Nicholas Matteo, P1. Philip Pregenator, P2. Nicholas Longay, P3. Andonator, of course, in P4. You've also got Mattis Van Erven, P5. Ruben Vallejo, P6. Danny Moreno, P7. Valentin Bruffair, P8. Dario Iamulo, P9. Domenico Levecce, P10. Alvaro Caraton, P11. Thyman Shooter, P12. 13th for Dylan Warren. Jorge Alberola, P14 with Chana Kinchi, P15. Lewis Welch out in qualifying, P16. 17th for Idawu. Julian Nauman, P18. Tom Martinez, P19. And Forrest Viers out in P20. But some major names out already in the early stages. Like you say, Jack, the big name, Josh Idawu, is going to make it very tricky for him heading into the race.
Yeah, I've got to imagine that there was some kind of issue for Idawu, because there's no way he's 0.6 of a second off the pace. There's no way that he's that far off. But we have to see what he's going to be able to do from 17th on the grid right now. And an interesting little point that I noticed there as well. It was Dormeyer and Van Erven set exactly the same time in 4th and 5th, but Dormeyer was behind Van Erven because he set the time first. So we had that a couple of races ago, from what I remember. Lewis Welch and Jarno Altmaier set the exact same time in Q2. That's the second time we've had that, not quite at the top end, but it's happened once again. So interesting stuff. But now, Q2, this is an important session, of course. The drivers who are inside the top 10, the tyre that you set your fastest lap on, that is the tyre that you'll be starting the race on. And I don't expect anyone to be going for an alternate strategy here. It's going to be soft tyres all the way.
Yeah, and also we're just seeing the two Mercedes leaving the garage, folks. Just want to say a big shout out to Logie Bear. Shout out to George for putting on the show. Thank you so much, Logie. Really appreciate that. If any of you want to filter in through your comments, of course, we'll read through them. I can see there's a lot of supporters there for Dylan Warren. Once again, Jack, they're pleased to have their man into Q2. And obviously after, I think he had a bit of a rough time at Silverstone. Didn't have it all go his own way. But I think he's got a great opportunity to make something happen for him here at Italy. He seems to favour this track.
Yeah, okay, he didn't have a good Silverstone at all. He still managed to get across the line, but it wasn't great. He was knocked out in Q1 at the first attempt of Q1, and then was knocked out, of course, twice. Didn't get the practice in, but he's made it through to Q2 now. See if he can get himself in the top 10. If Dylan Warren gets himself in the top 10, the chat are going to go absolutely berserk. I just know it, because this is the most competitive grid, of course, that we have, and the most competitive circuit, of course. It's all about getting it right around here. And if you get yourself inside the top 10 in this qualifying session, you're doing exceptionally well as a driver. So plenty to come. Basically, everyone is out on the circuit at the moment. And the first man who wants to go for a lap at the moment is the Renault of Nicholas Longay.
Absolutely. And Nicholas Longay currently out and about. And so is Moreno as well. And plenty of others, in fact. It's a very busy track right now. There's Levecce, who's about to cross the line to start his lap. Longay's out too. And Dormeyer as well, so that's both Renaults certainly looking to make things happen. There's Longay though, rounding in the Curva Grande, heading in, and actually goes purple sector 1, obviously getting them underway here. Rounds through the Rogier chicane, and very shortly down towards the first Lesmo at turn 4. And the Renault certainly looking to do the bids this time, of course, now rebranded as Alpine. Certainly for this season, everyone's really excited about the new livery that Alpine have presented, certainly in testing. It certainly lit up a few eyes around the stunning circuit of Bahrain. But as we're now seeing Longay heading into what will be the Ascari, and once again goes purple, albeit I think he's had purple taken off him in Sector 1, Jack. Can you confirm that?
Yes, Valentin Bruffair has the fastest Sector 1 at the moment. It basically inches between everybody at the moment. It was about 2,000 separating them at the moment. Now, just looking, I think Valentin Bruffair, he's invalidated running wide on the exit of Ascari. So at the moment, purple sector 2, trying to work it out at the moment, is, I believe, Nicholas Longay as he goes to the top of the standings. It will be 17.8 for him. That's not the fastest we've seen. So that is it's a good opening attempt from Nicholas Longay. Plenty more coming. Domenico Levecce, he's invalidated. He's coming into the pit lane now. Just checking for anybody about to come across the line. Looks like Dylan Warren's, he's invalidated. Van Erven now, Matthias Van Erven, we'll see if he can displace anybody here as he comes across the start-finish line. He's been looking quick in qualifying here. He comes across the line, and of course it wasn't invalidation once again for him. So lots of invalidations. But Nicholas Longay at the top. Danny Moreno, though, only 900ths off the back of them. But in fairness, 900ths around Monza is quite a large gap.
It certainly is. Alvaro Caraton as well, out and about. Remember, in that last qualifying session, the top 19 was separated by nearly 0.7 of a second. That is it, folks. That is all it is. and that's fairly minimal. The margin for error here at Monza or any circuit amongst this grid order is absolutely unbelievable, as we're now witnessing Alvaro Carreton rushing down the straight now, about to cross the Parabolica bend. Now, can the Williams topple the best of them here? Alvaro Carreton has been superb this season. We've seen some absolutely tremendous performances. He's got a lot of qualities, has the Spanish driver, as he's now about to come past the pit lane. I believe he's actually slowing down, folks. He's actually coming into the pit lane, not happy with the lap set, so there will be no time on the board for Alvaro Carreton. Must have been a mistake through that last lap, Jack.
Yeah, he was about a tenth down in the second sector, so obviously was not happy with getting that car across the line. So he's going to have another attempt though. So there's still lots of people still yet to set times here. Just keeping an eye on who's doing what at this moment in time. I think Van Erven, he's going to come in because his middle sector was not great from him with regards to everybody else. Bruffair is decided to demolish the boards in turn 1 and go straight on through the escape road. Polystyrene absolutely everywhere. So the stewards are going to have a... well, not the stewards, the marshals are going to have a job of cleaning that one up, going through turn 1. But we still have to see Dormar. Dormar is just beginning a lap right now. Van Erven into the pit lane. Warren, Shootout, Vallejo. Basically half the grid hasn't set a time yet. Only 5 drivers managing to get a lap in right now. Yeah,
it certainly is very, very close. Bruffair out on a lap 2. And very shortly we'll see him cross the line. In fact, well, saying that, he's going slowly. I think, again, he's having problems, Jack, around the circuit. Certainly, it's very hard to push it to the limit here around Monza. Of course, lots of margin, well, very tiny margin for error, should I say. Certainly around the Lesmo. That seems to be where they seem to be struggling. That second Lesmo can be so key, because if you at least brush or graze the tyres over that line, it's not going to happen for you, is it?
No, turn 1 as well, the Rettivilio chicane. I mean, that's a real stickler as well. Ascari as well. There's so many pitfalls around this circuit, but Dormeyer, he manages to get through safely, so this should be a time on the board for Andreas Dormeyer, the German in the Renault. Here he comes through the Parabolica. Respectable times all the way around by the looks of it. Only 200ths off the fastest sector 2. So he comes across the start-finish line. Should be a good time from Andreas Dormeyer, and it certainly is. Goes in front of Danny Moreno. So good effort, and it remains now a Renault 1-2 at Monza.
Yeah, absolutely. But don't write off the Mercedes team. Erven is out. Matthias van Erven is currently out on an outlap. So very shortly we could be seeing more from the Mercedes team. Dylan Warren as well. We're waiting to see more from him. Simon Shootout is out on an outlap too. So plenty of drivers out looking to do the business. Ruben Vallejo being one of them as well. Dylan Warren currently in the box waiting to go out. Matthias van Erven now rounding the Curva Grande and looking to head down towards the Rogier chicane. And certainly as you can now witness them, certainly this stunning day here at Monza. And you get your best racing when the sunshine is out as well, Jack. A nice dry circuit, that's what you want to see, because you really need a dry track to get the most out of the spectacle that is the Italian Grand Prix.
Absolutely, you're going to see, there's the Italian to the top, Domenico Lavecce at home in Italy. I watched that Sector 2, went purple in Sector 2, and we have an Italian at the top of the board for the first time tonight in the Red Bull, Domenico Lavecce. What a story that would be if we get an Italian on pole.
Oh, brilliant indeed. And I'm sure Red Bull are delighted to get one over their Renault counterparts, that's for sure. Very nice indeed. Just under half a tenth of a second from Nicholas Longe. That is absolutely superb there from Domenico Lavecce. And I'd imagine we'll be seeing more and more filtered to the top. Still plenty of times to be nestled on the board. And quite a few of them out on hot laps now. Ruben Vallejo is invalidated. Simon Shootout just starting his as well. Dylan Warren, I think, looking to come back out as Matthias van Erven crosses the line. And still no time nestled yet, but I believe he's about to start a fast lap now. Alvaro Carreton, who's gone quicker in Sector 1. Of course, he would do. But not far off. He could go quick this time as we now watch Alvaro Carreton around the first Lesmo. He's coming around the second Lesmo now. And just grazes the inside of the second Lesmo. And very, very nicely out. Heading down the stretch now towards what will be the Ascari chicane. And Nicholas Matteo once again goes quicker, Jack. Sensational.
Absolutely, but I think that could be about to get toppled by Philip Preschnader. I was watching the sector times, but Preschnader's gone faster than him in both sectors. But Matteo did a great lap right now, but here comes the Ferrari, the Italian car at home in Monza. Can Preschnader get into the top of the standings? Yes, he can by a small margin, but it is enough to get him fastest at the moment, but that's a big gap of 3/10. Caraton slots into third now, but those guys have a great gap of nearly 2/10 back to the next car, which is a country mile at Monza.
Absolutely sensational. I have to say, it certainly goes to show that you are certainly at risk no matter where you are on this track. The delta gaps are so thin, and Philip Prejnader is sensational. The Tifosi will be absolutely delighted with that lap time indeed. Got to give credit to Nicholas Matteo though. Where is he finding this pace from? This is like a different character we're seeing here today. He's quicker than his teammate Alvaro Caraton, who is always considered to be the #1 driver at Williams. It has to be said, but credit to Nicholas Matteo, an absolutely cracking couple of laps he's done, certainly in Qs 1 and 2, and you have to give him every chance to get into Q3 at this rate, certainly being well within the firing line of Philip Prejnader. That is absolutely superb. And I have to say, keep an eye on that kid, because he's certainly a young talent and someone to excite as Alvaro Caraton nearly goes for a ride coming out the Ascari chicane. So close.
Yeah, but he's just gone purple in Sector 2 as Alvaro Caraton. But the man who's gone purple in Sector 1 at the moment is Danny Moreno, who's gone purple, actually. So Moreno looking very, very fast at the moment. But Caraton should slot up to the top now. Not quite. He gets very close, but not enough. But watch this, man. Danny Moreno, our winner last week at Silverstone, comes across the start-finish line. This should be your fastest time. There you go. 17.3. Goes to the top of the standings. Made it look easy.
Absolutely massive lap from Danny Moreno, a 1/10 of a second faster than Philip Prejnader, and that is absolutely inhuman, certainly here in Q2, and that is sensational if he can carry that form heading through. And Matthias van Herven, his teammate, joins him in the top 3 as well, only 1.1 tenths of a second, or 100 and, well, just outside it, literally minimal here, Jack. Absolutely amazing scenes. Just over a 1/10 as well, slower than his teammate Danny Moreno. And certainly Mercedes in with a great chance of landing some big points here today. And Danny Moreno has had some hardships this season, but we're starting to see the best of him now. And if he can make it happen for himself today, that could mean a hell of a lot to his championship standings.
Yeah, he could really make himself a title contender if he comes out of this one with some good points haul. But Van Herven taking that purple Sector 3 off of Danny Moreno. So it is a Mercedes domination in the sectors, but Prejnader just slotting himself between the Mercedes at the moment. This is, of course, will not be your grid. It's just trying to get through to Q3 at the moment. This isn't even the pole shootout yet. But we still have yet to see times from Brufair, Warren, Schutze, Vallejo, and a representative time from Jorge Albarola. So there's still plenty to happen. And Tres Dormeyer is the man on the bubble making it through at the moment. But as it stands, both Italians on course to get through. Lavecce in 6th and Yamulo in 9th.
Absolutely, and there's more to come as well. Nicholas Longay heading down the long stretch before he reaches the Ascari chicane, and of course Renault will be delighted to park their car back at the top end. Remember, they were at the start of this session one of the certainly the better teams in this session, as they now round out to the Ascari chicane. Nicholas Longay flying. That was a stunning camera angle, it has to be said, as we now witness Longay heading down towards the Parabolica. You see the 2 racing points in behind as well, waiting to land a blow of their own, as we can now see Longay out of the Ascari, not the Ascari, sorry, the Parabolica, heading down across the line now. And he goes P2. And literally, I think that was just over half a tenth of a second. It certainly was. Nicholas Longay, the Frenchman, landing the Renault onto P2. And that is a great lap time indeed. And puts him well within the comfort zones of getting into Q3.
Yeah, that was green, purple from Nicholas Longay. So pulled the time in Sector 3. So obviously had a great run out of the Ascari chicane and managed to get the Parabolica spot on. In that one, and oh dear, Dylan Warren disconnecting once again. That's what happened to him in Silverstone, and hopefully he can get back in. Danny Moreno, he's retired from the session. He's happy with where he is. He's going to be pretty much safe unless everyone improves and gets in front of him, which is probably not going to happen. But stranger things have happened. But it's Nicholas Longay, and all those guys are on the same 10th of a second. Longay, Prejnader, Van Herven, and Matteo, all on a 17.4 and just half a tenth separating those guys, so that can be a big one. Currently, guys on an improvement at the moment. Valentin Brufair, of course, he's gone green, and he would do because he hasn't set a time yet, but certainly a man who we expect to be in the top 10 here. He comes around the Parabolica in the Alfa Romeo, gets the run down towards the start-finish line. Where is this going to put Brufair? Goes to 7th. It should be enough to keep him safely in there, but there's still plenty guys to come. Timon Schutze, for example, and Ruben Vallejo still no time from him. Time and shooter on a personal best as well. But those guys, they have to get these next runs right.
Yeah, well, Valentin Bruffair, like you say, parking himself on P7. That's a real steady lap there from Valentin Bruffair. And I have to say, we'll look forward to seeing more as Chanakinchi, his teammate, cross the line into P7 now, poaches his spot. So it's down to P8 for Valentin Bruffair, but both Alphas in the top 10. And we'll very shortly be heading into Q3 as long as they can hold on for the time being. Currently at risk is Andreas Dormeyer and, of course, Alberola. Thyman Shooter getting into the top 10, P9. And only just over 3.5 tenths of a second behind Danny Moreno. And you've got to say he's happy with that. And Thyman Shooter, a very, very talented youngster as well, Jack. We're very fortunate here at PSGL to have some of the most talented youngsters in sim racing today.
Yeah, we absolutely do, and they're proving themselves up against the big boys of F1 esports. So this is a good chance for them to prove to any of the teams who might be watching. We know they do keep an eye on league racing. So they will be keeping an eye on these youngsters as well. For those who are competing in the F1 Challengers, it's a perfect opportunity for them to show what they can do against the current established order at F1 esports. So yeah, it is good stuff to see them out on, and we love to see new talent making its way through the ranks. But end of Q2, checkered flag out in Q2. Now, who is going to be knocked out? Right now, Levece is on the cusp. Yamulo, he is a 10th down on his best. Unless he can pull some time in the last sector, he will be knocked out in Q2 and out of Q3, of course. But, of course, if he does improve, he'll knock his teammate out. So here he comes to the 9 now. Yamulo, can he get himself any further up the order? The answer is not quite. He improved slightly, but not enough to get himself in to Q3. Through comes Andreas Dormeyer. He's in the Renault, of course, coming to the line now. Can he get himself out of Q2? No, he can't. So the order is established. Levece makes it in, but fastest in Q2 is our winner from last week in the form of Danny Moreno, and that is a great effort. But both Mercedes in, both Williams in, both Alphas in, one McLaren, and crucially for the Tifosi, we have a Ferrari in and a Red Bull in.
Yeah, I gotta say, and what a staunch grid this could be. I have to say, I'm very much looking forward to Q3 now. The shootout for the top 10 positions is going to be on very, very shortly, as we now witness the McLaren and the Red Bull team wheel their cars back into the garage here in Q2, which has now come to an end, and we will go through the final standings, certainly, for this absolutely sensational and epic look at this Italian Grand Prix, of course. And I have to say, you look at the crowds there in the standings as we now witness, of course, Alvaro Caraton, Nicholas Matteo as well, very shortly coming to an end in this session. This is Matteo now being wheeled into the pit lane. And I've got to say, very, very fortunate to have the sunshine out here in Italy. Certainly on a track like this, that is what you want to get the best racing on your stream, folks. I hope you all enjoyed that. That certainly was a fantastic qualifying session. Obviously, very unfortunate for the Racing Point team. They actually lost both their drivers in that session, Jack, which is not ideal for them at all.
No, certainly not. Ruben Vallejo is not getting a time, and Dylan Moore, and of course, he disconnected, and they both didn't set any times at all. So, not a good one for the Racing Points, but certainly, definitely an impressive performance from the Alfa Romeos of Valentin Bruffair, and especially that Turkish driver of Chanakinchi in 7th. Not too far off the back of Alvaro Caraton. An impressive performance from Alfa, certainly, but we really have a shootout on in this one with Moreno, Longue, Presnader, Van Erven, Matteo, Caraton, Chanakinchi, Valentin Bruffair, Thyman Shooter, and Domenico Levece gets himself into Q3. Out in Q2, Yamulo, Andreas Dormeyer, Jorge Alberola, Dylan Warren, and Ruben Vallejo knocked out. But less than a tenth between your top three, 3/10 covering, 4/10 covering the top 10. This is going to be fun.
It's going to be very tight indeed, and I got to say, I'm really looking forward to see what the end result is here today. Like you quite rightly said, Jack, a very, very small handful of constructors in this one. We've lost a couple already, and it's going to be very interesting to see out of the Mercedes who is going to be the best on the day. Of course, Moreno certainly seeing the fastest, but don't count out Mattis van Erven because he's a very talented rookie, of course. And I have to say, give him every chance. He will put on or lay down a good fast lap time. He's very potent around these tracks. Certainly, sim racing in general, he's very, very accomplished. So I look forward to seeing what he does. The Ferraris now making their way out. Of course, the Tifosi are going to be wanting to see this, certainly with the likes of Philip Presnader looking to get the points on the board. A very key day for Philip Presnader. He'll want to take the sole lead of the championship, and he could potentially do that today.
Absolutely could. It's a big day for him. So he's he needs to make sure that he scores some points and doesn't get caught up in incidents. So this is a big one for this one. Of course, Preshnader tied on points with Barry Burmant, who of course has 3 wins to his name. Preshnader with the 1 victory. Of course, Jarno Opmeer with a victory. And last week, of course, we had Moreno taking a win as well. So there's been some interesting stuff all the way. It is a shame that we haven't got Barry. Of course, he's hasn't got his rig or his PC hooked up properly. He's having issues with it. So hopefully we can have Barry back at some point. But it is giving us a championship in this one. But it is going to be an interesting one because we have to watch and see what Josh Idamu can do from 17th on the grid at Monza with the slipstream train. So it's a big day for him as well. He's got to try and minimize the damage. And also, but really, it's nearly the biggest day for Danny Moreno. Of course, he's had all the technical problems. He has everything thrown at him. He sits at the moment in 9th in the championship on 16 points. So he could maybe even get himself into that top 5. If others have issues, it could be that. But of course, Barry Burman 51, Philip Preshnader 51, Josh Idamu on 43, and of course, Jarno Opmeer not here on 40 points. So that could have actually been even closer if we also had Jarno in this battle as well. So, but it's firmly between Preshnader and firmly between Josh Idamu. And we saw what happened before. Anything can happen. So Josh Idamu, I think he just needs to keep his head down and just get that car across the line.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say a big thank you to Carter Lundy. $3.99 Canadian dollars, that is, for a Valentine Brew Fair P1. Thank you ever so much, Carter Lundy. Did not expect that, so that's very kind of you. And we appreciate your support here on the broadcast, absolutely. And I've got to say, I've never ever seen, I don't think, a donation on a live broadcast. That is sensational, Jack.
Yeah, I'm not used to getting donations in there, but thank you very much, mate. Appreciate it. First lap's coming in right now. Speaking of which, Valentine Brew Fair, he was fastest in Sector 1, but Van Erven says, no, I'll have that one. So it was by less than a couple of thousands between them, though. 25 at 852, but that is promptly taken away by it was taken away in Sector 2. Van Erven takes it in Sector 2 with a big oversteer moment through Ascari. So he's really pushing on the Dutchman here, but Brew Fair will set the fastest time. Of course, the other Italian team, Alfa Romeo, both their cars in Q3. Ferrari couldn't even do it. Alfa could. Cross the line, Brew Fair invalidates it. Van Erven, has he managed to get across the line and get a time? And yes, he does. 17.605. Very good opening attempt from Van Erven. Yeah, very, very competitive lap time. It's certainly for Matthias Van Erven. He'll be delighted with that. And I've got to say, not far away from the times we've been seeing at the top end, certainly. But still plenty of time. The track at mere optimal temperature. I'm sure it could get warmer, though, as we now witness Moreno coming round the next bend. As Chanakinchi goes into P2. Just over 2.5 tenths of a second in P2. That is absolutely brilliant from Chanakinchi. He's in the midst of it, but we'll need to go quicker, I think, in order to land in the higher stages of this classification. And Thyman Shooter joins the fray as well. 0.3 of a second out from Matthias Van Erven and 0.5 of a second out from Chanakinchi in P2. So the numbers being flicked through now, folks. We are going to be seeing a lot more of them as well. Thyman Shooter now round in that bend as well. Here comes Valentine Brew Fair coming round, as well as Alvaro Caraton. Plenty out and about right now. Lots to look out for as we now make our way through the initial stages of Q3. It certainly is going to be a very exciting one. Absolutely, yeah. Just keeping an eye on my sectors here. Danny Moreno, purple sector 1. That's a mega sector 1 from Danny Moreno, I must say. In the Merc, he's got a 10th over everybody else. The closest man to him at the moment in that sector is, by the looks of it, Alvaro Caraton, but Brew Fair backs out of his laps, so there's some really fast laps about to come in. But Danny Moreno, what's his Sector 2 time like? It is purple, but this is going to be close between himself and Alvaro Caraton, who's matching him nearly through most sectors. But Danny Moreno is on a big lap here, big push lap as he comes around the Parabolica, heads towards the line. This is going to be your fastest time, we think, across the start-finish line, 17.407, and that is a mega time from Danny Moreno, 0.2 of a second faster than Van Erven. But Alvaro Caraton, he's backed out of his lap, so but that is an absolutely brilliant effort from Danny Moreno.
That is absolutely superb from Danny Moreno. Mattis Van Erven into P2 as well, remember? And Chanakinchi in P3. Mercedes P1 and 2. How often have we seen that in Formula 1? And once again, we bring it here at PSGL as well. Alvaro Caraton coming through the first chicane. He obviously did not manage to set an earlier lap. He's now making his way out on another fast lap in mind as well. We got Nicholas Matteo coming through the Ascari chicane. Can the Williams topple them here on the top billing here as Nicholas Matteo now makes his way down the stretch, down towards the Parabolica bend. He's purple in Sector 2, Jack, green in Sector 1, as we now witness Matteo now rounding the Parabolica. Here he comes down towards the home stretch, past the paddock. You can see the crowds lit up on the right-hand side. Matteo has been fast right through qualifying as he crosses the line. P1! He overtakes Danny Moreno there, well under half a tenth of a second. Splendid work there from Nicholas Matteo. He's the fastest man on track. Sensational. And Williams trumps the Mercedes.
Absolutely, but the purple sector now goes in favour of Nicholas Longe as he comes through the Parabolica for the first time of asking here. Around the Parabolica comes Loreto, looking good in Sector 2. Is this enough to topple Matteo at the top? The answer is not quite. 100th of a second is all it was, but Caraton, he's on a good lap too. Can he split them maybe? Across the line he goes 4th. He manages 700th behind Moreno, but Matteo is currently provisional pole with a great effort, but Longe is not far off him at all.
No, not at all. Philip Presnader out and about as well, but he is like 1.7 seconds slower in Sector 1. And I think he's just literally just slowing his car down. He's going to go again without a shadow of a doubt. I could be wrong, but he's now making his way down towards the Ascari chicane. He's got the DRS open. So we'll have to see where he parks his car on this occasion. Indeed, he's gone slower again. I think he's just prepping for yet another fast lap as he now makes his way out of Ascari, heading down the long stretch. He might come in for a new set of tyres and make it for one last run on a fresh set. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But I have to say, incredible stuff from Nicholas Matteo. Alvaro Caraton into P4. So Williams, Ps 1 and 4 right now, as well as Longe, who made it into P2, as you so rightly said, Jack, just outside of Nicholas Matteo's time. And you can see Danny Moreno there in P3 as well. The top 3 separated or within half a tenth of a second. The top 4 within a tenth of a second. That is absolutely unbelievable and a testament to the pace of all these drivers out on track.
Yeah, it really is. It's so competitive here, and any mistake will drop you down the order. Leveche was on a lap, but he's backed out of it now. Once again, he hasn't set a time yet. Neither has Valentin Bruffaert. But we have Caraton on an in-lap now, of course. So we have a bit of a quiet moment in qualifying, a lull in proceedings, while we get some new tyres on. But it's basically the calm before the storm. The pole shootout about to begin, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be very close. But who's it going to be? We have no idea.
Yeah, and the two Alphas are going out on track now. So we're just going to wait and see what they can pull out the bag. Caraton now heading into the pit lane. Chanakinchi is out on track now, following Valentin Bruffaert, who is currently just leaving the opening chicane. So let's see what these guys can nail down now. Of course, both Alphas looking to tipple the balance here. And Alfa Romeo have played host to many a great driver. One man including Jarno Opmeer, of course, who actually won the F1 Esports Pro Series. And he's the current champion, obviously driving the Alfa Romeo. And, of course, Alfa have just recently signed as well Simon Weigang. And like we said earlier on in the broadcast, of course, they also play home to Danny Beresne. And obviously a very, very accomplished team as well, Jack. They seem to be the team to beat when it comes to certainly the likes of the F1 Esports Pro Series. They got a very, very good leader in that of TRL Limitless, that James Doherty, of course. And they got a very good backing, haven't they? And certainly look to be one of the boys to really beat in the certainly in the world of esports.
Yeah, absolutely. The F1 Esports this season is going to be absolutely mental because we have Alpha versus Merc versus Red Bull for that one. That's going to be something to watch, certainly. And of course, we have that lineup at Ferrari as well, with both champions of Tunetank and Lee at Ferrari as well. So basically, it's wide open in this one. But here comes the first laps of the pole shootout. It's going to be Valentin Bruffaert is going to come across the line for his final run. Chanakinchi following him just a few car lengths back. No slipstream, of course, in qualifying. But let's see if they can maybe get themselves even in front of the Ferraris or Philip Presnader even. But certainly Chanakinchi's put on a good performance tonight, the Turkish driver, and is in front of time and shoots. Just about a tenth off of Presnader. So he's going to need a big improvement somewhere out of this one. But certainly Valentin Bruffaert needs a time. in this session. He's gone green, of course, as he would do in the first sector, and that is actually a little bit faster than what our current pole man has managed. And actually, I think he's backed out of it once again, so he's struggling with invalidations here. He's going to have one more lap and one more attempt.
Yeah, he is. He's slowing down his Valentine Brufair, but this opens the door for Tunetank, who is now rounding his way up towards Ascari, and I'm sure will be looking to go quicker. He's currently green in Sector 1 and 2, not purple just as yet, so we'll have to see what he can do heading into Sector 3. But currently making his way down the stretch towards the Parabolica. There you can see his teammate Valentine Brufair, Alfa Romeo, currently in the championship on the top end. They won the first 3 races in the championship under Barry Burmand, of course, as we're now seeing Tunetank round the final corner at Parabolica, about to cross the line. Can he improve from P7? He certainly can. He's up to P5 and just outside a tenth of a second away from Nicholas Matteo.
Good effort, Tunetank, I must say. Only a couple, like you mentioned, only 200s off of Alvaro Caraton. But Caraton on a lap right now. Matteo's on a lap, and he's improving as well. As I'm looking at the sectors right now, purple sector 2 for Preschnader. He's pulling time out of nowhere, 0.3 of a second up in sector 2 for Philip Preschnader. This is going to be a great lap for the Ferrari. Needs to get himself up the grid, of course. Needs to maximize the points. Needs to get himself further up the grid. Here we go for Philip Preschnader. He goes to 4th. Good effort for the Ferrari, and slots himself in front of Alvaro Caraton, only 100 behind Danny Moreno, who now begins his lap. But look how close this is. There's less than a tenth between 6 drivers, no less than 6 drivers, but the time's coming in thick and fast now. Who's going to get pole? Matteo, can he go even faster? No, he can't. So it's all down to can anybody else improve in this last bit of qualifying. Caraton, a tenth and a half up on his best time, coming through Ascari for this last time of asking right now. Needs less than a tenth of a second as Van Erven pulls it out of nowhere. 17.31 in the Merc. He goes to provisional pole. Can anyone answer that time of Van Erven? Moreno's made an error in the first sector, so maybe he can't improve. So no, Valentine Brufair, great effort. 3rd spot for the German. Nicholas Longo is on the way. Caraton once again pulls it out of the bag. 17.2 for the Spaniard in Monza. Great effort from him. Can anybody else answer? Longo's down on his best time, so I don't think he's going to be able to improve here as he comes across the start-finish line. It doesn't look like it's going to be enough for Longo to steal anything. He can't improve. Moreno is down on his time. He's not going to be able to improve. And Leveche is not going to get it. So Caraton, what an effort from the Spaniard. Gets pole. Van Erven is 2nd and Matteo in 3rd. But how about Valentine Brufair? He was on the edge. That was his last attempt and he gets 4th.
It's a Williams P1 and 3. Matteo still up there after an incredible lap in the first half of Q3. It was absolutely brilliant. Valentine Brufair only just outside his time in P4. It was a grandiose recovery there from Valentine Brufair and for Alfa Romeo, and they will be on the 2nd row of the grid. That is absolutely brilliant. Nicholas Longue unable to tip the balance. He is into P5. The sole Renault in the top 10. Danny Moreno not able to do the same as his teammate Mattis Van Erven, who is on the front row alongside Caraton in the Mercedes. And as you can now see, there's a Caraton certainly rounded out of the Ascari. He's having a cool down lap. That is absolutely outstanding from Spaniard Alvaro Caraton. I said earlier in the broadcast, Jack, he is one to watch, and he's done it where it counts, because certainly it's all well and good nailing the P1 in Qs 1 and 2, but if you can't do it in Q3 when it counts, you're not going to get pole. And that's exactly what Caraton's done here tonight.
Yeah, he certainly has. I'm just looking at the sectors right here. He pulled 0.2 of a second on Van Erven in Sector 2, but Van Erven pulled that back in the last sector. So here is the grid, and just look how close that was across the whole field. Caraton on pole on a 17.25. Matthias Van Erven in 2nd on a 17.31. Nicholas Matteo in 3rd on a 17.38. 5,000 separating himself and Valentine Brufair in 4th. 7,000 between himself and Nicholas Longue. Danny Moreno could only manage 6th. He had a big moment in Lesmo 1. Preschnader in 7th. Tunetank in 8th. Domenico Leveche in 9th. And Timon Schutte in 10th. 0.3 between the top 10.
Absolutely sensational stuff, folks. And a Williams is on pole. We love to see it. We don't see it enough. And I have to say, it harks back to the 90s of Damon Hill, Nigel Mansell, And of course, Jacques Villeneuve back in those days where you'd see Williams on the high echelons of racing, certainly in Formula One. This is absolutely brilliant. I have to say, we're going to look forward to seeing what Alvaro Carreton can do. Can he bring that Williams home into P1? Certainly sticking himself on pole at Italy is certainly a bonus, given that the track is so tight in certain sections. The chicanes are so treacherous. You can make one mistake, you can land yourself with a penalty if you're not careful. It's going to be very, very interesting indeed. Who are the main eye catchers, Jack? Who should we be looking at heading into this race?
You can't count out Moreno, though he is further down the grid, of course, but remember what he did at Silverstone. You cannot discount that man in there. But for me, Carreton's looking really good, but Van Erven's looking really impressive, I have to say. Lining up in the second row of the grid could be definitely a challenger for the win, but we have to keep our eyes further down the grid. Of course, we have to watch Josh Lydua. What is he going to do from 17th all the way down there? And we have to as well, it's a big day. Preschnader, he's surely got to take the lead of the championship heading into the next round, but he has to score points. And of course, there's a different point system in PSGL, so there's less points for these positions, and there would normally be 16 points for the win, of course. So it is a big day. He has to score points heading into the next round to at least have the championship lead going into the next round. Only 6 rounds remain, but plenty to happen. But Williams 1 and 3, and an Alfa Romeo in 4th. Watch out for Brufair, actually. He's been looking really good.
Well, just to say, obviously, looking at Preschnader now, obviously, he had a couple of disappointments throughout earlier in the season. He had big chances earlier in the calendar after, of course, we saw that the likes of Barry Burremand and Jarno Watmir weren't available to actually take part in racing here at PSGL. So he missed out quite a lot on chances to take the lead in the championship. So he really needs to do something here, doesn't he?
Yeah, it really, really does. Just having a look now at your strategies. Complete split in the grid as well. Everyone outside the top 10, as you would expect, going for the medium tyres. So soft tyres around here, you can expect them to last about 9-10 laps around here. So expect the pit stops then, but everybody else is opting for that alternate strategy. Of course, you may as well try it and see what can happen, but it can be strong. But Josh Lydua, he has to make it work from 17th on the grid. And of course, the 2 racing points, Dylan Warren, Ruben Vallejo, 14th and 15th on the grid, have to make something work. Tom Martinez as well down in 19th spot. Gotta watch out for him. Flores Fire is starting last in this one as well. But it is going to be a clear split in the field. There's going to be a massive TRS train in this one. So expect something similar to Silverstone, but on steroids.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's going to be very interesting indeed. There's Carreton warming up his tyres. And in behind him, the Mercedes of Mattis Van Erven, who of course will be joining him on the front row of the grid. And in behind as well, you have got the Williams teammate, Nicolas Matteo, who was so potent in the first session of qualifying and the second session. So you've got to give them credit for that. Williams, very, very, very good drivers.
They've hit each other.
Yeah, I have to say, it's going to... Oh, they've hit each other, have they? Oh, brilliant. Great
They've hit each other.
Excellent stuff. That's a good way to start this Italian Grand Prix, isn't it, Jack? So they're about to line up. Obviously, please leave a like and a subscribe, folks, to the PSGL Championship. There's the racing points on the grid as well. Looks like they've had a few fisticuffs out here in Italy as they now land another one. And a big thank you to Vatefield as well. I'd like to say CRG Gamer is very pretty. £2 to PSGL. Thank you so much there, Vatefield. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. And we're about to start this Italian Grand Prix. Here we go, folks. First light, second light, third light, fourth light, the 5th light! And it's pedal to the metal, go, 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 go! Alvaro Carreton gets away well, but just look at Mattis Van Erven. He's not far away, the teammates as well. Alvaro Carreton is there, so Nicolas Matteo in behind though as well. He's now going toe-to-toe in behind with Mattis Van Erven, heading around the first chicane at Retifilio, but still Carreton leads. Matteo into P3, you've got Mattis Van Erven in P2, Longay sets himself up in P4 with Daniel Moreno in P5. In behind you got Valentin Brufair, Philip Preschnader, who's in the midst too as they round now into the Rogers chicane. It's all been very clean, and I have to say, Alvaro Carreton, a phenomenal start.
Yeah, disaster for Josh Idawood, though. He's broken his wing, so he's now had an issue. And as well, Moreno has got past Nicholas Longe as well. They're having a big scrap going through for the second Lesmo as they come through. And out, Josh Idawood, he's left the session. He's gone. So big day in the championship now. It has to be a gain for Preshnader, who's trying to battle with Brufair. Brufair going for it on Longue into Ascari. Longue hangs around the outside. Brufair has to cut the corner. Preshnader trying to follow him through as they come through the Parabolica for the first time. It's crucial you make up position on lap number 1. Once the DRS comes in, it's going to be even harder to make up positions. But Carrots on getting the start. Van Erven tried, but he couldn't do anything. But Longue is the man under pressure from the German of Valentin Brufair right now.
Absolutely, and I got to say, Preshnader is looking absolutely venomous there, and the Ferrari is now beginning to zone up on Valentin Brufair now. He is in the slipstream, looking to make a move into turn 1. He's trying to catch the rear wheel there to try and gain any point of time as they make their way down the Rettifilio. The Ferrari, the Tifosi lights up as they head round turn 1, but he can't get it done. He's opened the door for Domenico Lavecce round the Curva Grande. A grande move from Lavecce, moved himself up to P7, and Preshnader must feel robbed after that, Jack.
Absolutely, as he's now, he tried around the outside, got hung out to dry by Brufair, who just gave him a little squeeze to the outside line, which is absolutely entitled to do. He's holding on to the position, but Preshnader down to 8th now, and now Timon Shooter is lining him up for a move right here as well. But this is all keeping now. We've got to keep our eye on the alternate strategy. Dario Yamulo leading that train of medium runners, trying to keep themselves in here as they come up to Ascari once again. But Caraton's got half a second gap now over Van Erven, who's matching him through the first couple of sectors right now. This is going to get very interesting. DRS enabled on this next lap by, so keeping our eyes peeled for the action here at Monza. But we hear now Josh Idawu, he's absolutely fuming. I think he's just turned off his stream, left it. And this could have been a big day for him, as we had now. Julian Naumann is now out of the race as well. We've lost one in this early phase, but DRS will now be enabled. Now the fun begins.
Yeah, and that was a massive smash indeed for Julian Naumann. That car is absolutely totaled in the background as we're now witnessing Danny Moreno heading down the track with the fastest lap as well. Philip Preshnader in the mix, but just look at this. Chana Kinchi looking for a move here. I think he was trying to open the door on Timon Shooter, but that was absolutely incredible. Julian Naumann's car was sent flying out of the Ascari chicane. I think it's lit up the comments boards, heading certainly as we witness lap 3 of 27 in this race. Absolutely incredible. And now we're watching as Philip Preshnader tries to gather back on Domenico Lavecce, who stung him earlier on in the race for that P7 position. It's been an absolute lightning start here as the leaves get blown across the circuit. We're only lap 3 of 27, but I feel we've had a whole race's worth of action here, Jack.
We certainly have, and we have another 27. We've 27 laps of this right now to keep our eyes on. But of course, the soft tires around here, we've got to keep an eye, because they don't last long. They only last about 9-10 laps, and they're going to go by very quickly. So we're keeping our eyes on that as well. But Caraton managing it now. ERS management in effect. Van Erven keeping himself honest behind. He's getting a lovely run up to Parabolica now. The question is, does he go for an overtake at this early phase of this race? He will have DRS. He goes to overtake right now, keeps himself in the slipstream. Surely going to be a move now, perhaps, for Matthias Van Erven. Sets the fastest lap, DRS enabled, down towards the Rettifilo chicane, in the slipstream of the Williams, swaps places, no flight put up by Alvaro Caraton. Matthias Van Erven for Mercedes moves to the lead of the Italian Grand Prix, and now the Williams are sandwiched between both the Mercs.
They are indeed. There's Alvaro Caraton, who are riding on board with in P2 now. Matthias Van Erven getting it done, heading out of the Rettifilio chicane. An exceptional move indeed, and good timing. Of course, Alvaro Caraton isn't going to want to challenge that too much in this early stage. Of course, we're only in lap 4 of 27, but of course he is going to want to stay in the slipstream of Matthias Van Erven. In behind, you've got Nicholas Matteo in P3 as well, Danny Moreno in P4, Nicholas Longue down in P5. Julian Naumann, of course, left the session after that really horrific crash, heading out of Ascari chicane, as we're now witnessing them bomb their way down towards what will be Ascari, heading out the Serigilio. And as you can now see, they're on board. There is Alvaro Caraton trying to match once again with Matthias Van Erven. In behind as well, Nicholas Matteo, P3, of course, 2 Williamses, Ps 2 and 3. In behind, Danny Moreno, of course, trying to join his teammate, Matthias Van Erven at the top end. In the background, looks like Preshnader might have dropped off the pace just slightly. He is now approximately around about 7/10 of a second off Domenico Lavecce, who seems to be gathering good pace on Valentin Brufair.
Yeah, he certainly is. And Predator's struggling on ERS as well. He's only got about 20% in the battery left at this moment. And Dylan Warren, fastest lap for Dylan, who's lapping around on the medium tyres as well. So he's in the slipstream, managing his tyres now and making sure that he keeps those tyres under wraps, keeps them nice and fresh as well for Yamulo as well. Yamulo's got to keep himself in DRS as well. If he loses that, he's going to be really vulnerable heading into this late phase of the soft stint. But right now, Van Herven looks comfortable, doesn't he? He's pulled out 0.7 of a second on Caraton, and he's trying his best to break DRS. Moreno sticking in there, but Longue now beginning to kind of get himself involved right now. Pulled up to the back of Moreno, who made a small error through Ascari, but Longue fancies a bite of this cherry as well.
Yeah, but he wasn't very tidy coming out of the second Lesmo, and that might have cost him a little bit of time. In fact, it's opened the door for Valentin Brufair, just in behind him as well. Currently in P6 as they head into the Ascari chicane. You can there see the Renault just trying to tank his way through behind the Alfa Romeo. Just look at his shot now. Indeed, the Renault, Nicolas Longue, struggling to stick to the track as Valentin Brufair might have a chance here as they head down towards the Parabolica bend. And as you can now see, there's Longue, and in behind him as well, Valentin Brufair looking to pounce on the unsuspecting Renault car. In behind, Domenico Lavecce also finding a little bit of time. Presneda trying to recover too. Well within the midst of a potential move here is indeed, here comes Valentin Brufair. A move here on Nicolas Longue heading down towards the Rettifilo chicane and gets it done before the corner. Exquisite stuff by the Alfa Romeo, and he's up to P5, Jack.
Yeah, Longue lost DRS coming into Parabolica, and Brufair just had the answer, was able to get past, and now he can go chasing after the lead pack, and he's got himself back into DRS range of Danny Moreno out front, which is crucial. So Longue is struggling in this early phase. Lavecce looking pretty racy behind him right now in that Red Bull, but you can see now the Williams beginning to get racy with each other right now. They're getting very close. Moreno's brought himself into the fight as well, just a little bit as well. And we know how good these guys are at managing ERS. They still have 80 to 90% charge in that ERS. But Van Erven's having to use more, of course, as he's out front. And these guys behind can save. And we know Caratani is a wily character. He's not using any ERS, just using that DRS to keep himself in the train. But we will have Brufair joining the train right now. He's absolutely flying, I must say, and he's dragged himself onto the back of Danny Moreno.
Yeah, we already have a time penalty on this grid now. Dario Iamulo now has 3 seconds applied to his time. And there you can see Domenico Lavecce now beginning to round on Nicolas Longue. Longue's having a very uncomfortable race at this moment in time as we now ride on board indeed with Domenico Lavecce as they come up now across the start-finishing line. And this is going to be a very early overtake indeed. The Red Bull alongside the former engine supplier of Renault and indeed cuts him off from the get-go. In behind, Simon Shooter going toe-to-toe now with Chad Akinci into what looks to be that P10, P9 position. They go wheel-to-wheel heading out of the Rettifilo chicane. Absolutely incredible stuff from wheel to wheel around the curve of Grande. Is it going to be a Grande move here? But indeed, Chanakinchi gets it done, rescues that position, but still in behind. Simon Shooter tries to trace the rear end of the Alfa Romeo. Can't get it done heading into the Rogier, but an incredible series of bends. And indeed, Lavecce gets the best of Nicolas Longue as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see Longue is really struggling. He's not having a good day out there in that car. And Philip Preschneider could be the next man to get past as well, because Preschneider, after that battle, has broken DRS on Chanakinchi. Dario Iamulo on the medium tyres, of course. He's keeping himself in behind Simon Shooter as well. So good stuff from him. But Preschneider now needs to get himself past Longue, because Longue really does not have the pace at the moment to keep up with these guys. But back up to the front, we're approaching now that pit stop phase, that crucial pit stop phase. Lap 9 of 10, lap 9 and 10 is when we expect the guys to start peeling into pit lane to bolt on a set of new tyres. And the DRS train will now firmly begin, of course. No moves can be made, really, unless you're really close to the car in front. But Caraton is getting very, very close to the back of Van Erven. And both of those Williams, both moving into the mirrors of Van Erven to make sure that he knows he's coming. Yamulo moves himself into the point ahead of time and shooting now. The softs will begin to go off. The mediums beginning to now get into their operating window. But Caraton that time, he moved into the mirrors of Van Erven, made himself very, very visible in the mirrors, trying to put him off in turn 1.
Yeah, he did. And as they come out of the Curva Grande now, you can see there Dario Imulo now in behind Chana Kinchi, but also Thyman Shooter coming to join the party once again, rubbing on the gravel, all of them as they make their way round. And Dario Imulo there makes the best of Chana Kinchi heading into the first Lesmo. That was absolutely incredible stuff and a dangerous move indeed as Chana Kinchi now licks his wounds heading around the second Lesmo. And in behind, he might have made a minor mistake there because in comes Thyman Shooter, who has every chance here of getting a move done here into Ascari Chicane, but chooses not to, opts to stay in behind of that man indeed. Chana Kinchi on the outset in behind as well. Andreas Dormeyer coming in to join the fun, as well as Dylan Warren, who still has the fastest lap. It's been an absolutely sensational race. The speed around Monza has been absolutely incredible as we now witness Dormeyer in behind a Thyman Shooter with a great chance. Dylan Warren being pulled along as well. In behind, in comes the Renault, and they dive into the pit lane, and it was very close indeed. Andreas Dormeyer nearly in trouble there. Could have really easily landed himself certainly in the midst of a damaged front wing if he tangled with that, well, more than a damaged front wing, if he crashed into the pit wall, Jack. That would have been a real big issue.
Yeah, certainly is. Well, we have the pit stops beginning bang on the money on lap number 9. So Matteo peels in, Moreno peels in, Brufair comes in, Thyman Shooter and Nicholas Longue. I was looking at the car of Longue down towards the Parabolica. I figured out why he was struggling so much. Front wing damage on the left side. That is now repaired and he can get back going, but he drops now behind Thyman Shooter, behind Brufair. So now we should see the true pace of Longue come in right now. So he did have that front wing damage on the left-hand side. But now, of course, Matteo's pitted. He's now triggered the pit stops. So Van Erven, Caraton, all of these guys should be peeling into the pit lane, which should mean that we will have Dario Imulo leading this race at home in Italy, the Italian leading his home race. It could be an interesting one to watch, of course, but now crucial pit stops coming up, and we have to see now what's the pace of Matteo, what's the pace of Moreno on this out lap for these guys. Moreno's putting pressure on Matteo at the same time. Average time spent in the pit lane, 36 seconds. It's going to be very close, George.
It is going to be very, very close. They've got to be quick now heading out. Moreno down in P15, of course, currently 3/4 of a second behind Nicholas Matteo. The gap obviously between as they now make more pit stops being made now, and the pit window is in fact open for Ruben Vallejo as well. He's going to be boxing onto the softs around about this time, so he needs to make a move ASAP if he wants to take advantage of his in-lap, because he's got ahead of him the Haas driver.
Oh, Caraton in front of Van Erven. Sorry to cut across you. They made a swap in the pit lane, and here they come towards turn 1. It's going to be Matteo and Moreno in front as they head towards turn 1. Moreno had a little look, but he couldn't do it. Matteo and Moreno made the undercut work, but Caraton jumping Van Erven in the pit lane. Crucial stop for them.
That is absolutely incredible scenes, Jack, indeed. And what a move there from Matteo and indeed Moreno to make that undercut work. It was so successful. In behind as well. Caraton as well out ahead of Maris Van Erven. That was so key as well. They were faster in the pit box. They let him go. Mercedes have made an error. Well, certainly not the Mercedes team. Have certainly not made an error. They've actually come out ahead. Well, actually behind. Sorry, I do apologise. Caraton obviously getting the job done correctly. And a nice bit of luck certainly went their way. In behind, though, you can see there Danny Moreno looking all over the rear end of Nicholas Matteo. Can Matteo cope with the pressure of this relentless force that is Danny Moreno in the Mercedes team? All of them owning Mercedes engines, of course. And as you can now see them, the four of them in tandem, Williams, Mercedes, as they head down towards the Parabolica bend. These are scenes we like to see, Jack.
Absolutely, and not only are they all Mercedes powered, they're all Spanish at the top as well. And the Matteo, Moreno and Caraton leading a Spanish 1, 2 and 3. But now here comes Moreno with the DRS down towards turn 1. He's going to go for it on his compatriot. No defense put up by him. Moreno leads the Italian Grand Prix, and once again we have the Mercedes sandwiching the Williams heading through turn 1. But of course now leading after the pit stops, it's Dario Imulo, the Italian, leading at home.
Absolutely, and I have to say a little nudge in the back there from Matteo on Danny Moreno as he did go past him heading into the first chicane, the Verante de Ferretafilio, as they come through into the Roggia now at turn 3 and mark their way down towards turn 4 around the first Lesmo. Still Danny Moreno is the net P1 leader. In behind as well you've got Nicholas Matteo, in behind his teammate Alvaro Caraton with Mattis Van Erven close in behind, but don't forget Valentin Brufair, who's having the best race of his championship championship so far. This is absolutely incredible stuff indeed. One of the most exciting races, and I hark back to Silverstone. We all thought that was brilliant, and I have to say it was because of that man, Danny Moreno, who pulled off that exceptional move, heading around Stowe. Now he's technically net leading this race here at Monza, but it's not over and said and done yet, because Matteo still hit his mitts. Stowe is carrots on. It's all to play for, Jack. We love to see it. Lap 12 of 27. Long way to go.
Yeah, Lewis Welch, he's came into the pit lane, retired that car, so Lewis is not going to finish this race, and he is going to, unfortunately, DNF from this one, which is unfortunate. He's been consistently scoring points, but not enough in this one. But we basically now have a 5-car train for the win, with Moreno at the front, Matteo second, Carton in net P3, Van Erven, Bruffair, and Lavecce and Preschner. He's in a bad spot at the moment because he's not able to get inside DRS, and everyone else in front of him has got DRS in the car in front. He's having to use up all of his ERS to try and get up to the back of them, and he can't do it. And there's a penalty for Moreno, and that's going to drop him really far down right now. So net race leader, Nicholas Matteo.
It is indeed, and that is very crucial indeed. Danny Moreno is going to be absolutely gutted that he's landed himself a penalty here at Monza. He's currently the net leader, but not for long, because of course Nicholas Matteo, who's behind him, will retake the net lead based on penalties alone. In behind Carreton as well will jump up a place. It's technically at this moment in time a Williams 1 and 2. We haven't seen that in many years, folks, as they now make their way down towards the Parabolica. This is absolutely incredible as we now watch Danny Moreno heading down towards that Parabolica bend. There's a time penalty now for Thyman Shooter in the McLaren. 3 seconds to him as well. In behind we can see that of Mattis van Erven as well, who's trying to roam up on Carreton as well, as we're now seeing the slipstream trying to be broken here, as you can now see Matteo trying to find the outside, opts to cope on the inside as well. There you can see Carreton, he's literally trying to break the slipstream of his teammate, all the while trying to close up on the Mercedes of Danny Moreno. Incredible stuff indeed. Mattis van Erven just over a tenth of a second into 2/10 behind that of Carreton. I cannot take my eyes off it, Jack. All it takes is one mistake, and Longuet picks up 3 seconds as well.
Yeah, really, this is really great stuff, but it's rare we see that from Danny Moreno. Now, of course, it could be the case that he picked up maybe 2 warnings in one corner. That does happen sometimes, so there could be a one that gets removed. But for now, we have Matteo in the net race lead, Carton in second, Van Erven in third. For now, of course, and 3 seconds back will drop him right back. So, but right now, the man who's impressing me a lot is Domenico Lavecce. He's really putting it to these guys at home in Monza. Of course, he's the Italian driver for Red Bull on the back of Valentin Bruffair. Has a really good chance of a podium maybe in this race. We'll see what he's able to do. But Danny Moreno, he's trying now to get out and break that DRS on Nicholas Matteo. It's going to be a hard ask to try and do that, and you can see Matteo was weaving down the front straight, trying to break the slipstream of the cars behind. Proper tactics there, proper single-seater tactics right there. Down the front straight they come once again. Are we going to see the same thing from Nicholas Matteo? Does he try? He moves to the right-hand side. Does he move back to the left once again? No. He's trying to actually get out of the slipstream, and in the background, a little bit of defensive driving by Van Erven, because Bruffair is putting a little bit of a challenge on.
Yeah, he certainly is, and I have to say it's absolutely incredible to see, and we're just seeing now this contingent of cars make their way around the Curva Grande. 3-second time penalty for Floris Viers at this moment in time as well. He's currently in P5 on this track as it stands. There you can see Bruffair in the midst as well, but there's your man, Nicholas Matteo, who's technically now subject to the time penalty, net leader of this Grand Prix. We're only in lap 14 of 27, though. There's still plenty of racing left in this Grand Prix, though, as they now round the second Lesmo. And there you can see that I think Moreno is going to work here, Jack, because you can now see he's broken the Delta gap up quite considerably, a little bit more. I think he's laying down a hammer on his ERS, but Nicholas Matteo is still in the midst as they come through Ascari once again. And there in the background, you can also see that man, Alvaro Carreton, who has not left Nicholas Matteo's rear end right now. You can see at this moment in time as the time penalty is applied again to Nicolas Longuet, who is really struggling with it right now. And that's not ideal as Carreton is in behind his teammate now. Indeed, of that man, Nicholas Matteo, as they come round the Parabolica bend, heading down the stretch. Will the Williams teammate get it done this time? No, I don't think he will. Once again, you see Matteo dodging to the inside and breaking that potential move there from Carreton. But yet again, that will cost Matteo, because he will not be able to stay behind the slipstream of Danny Moreno. But I don't think he's too worried about it, Jack. I think he's quite happy to win this on penalties.
He certainly is. He's got loads of ERS as well, but I've got a feeling Matteo wants to win this on track as well. He's got to keep his eye on his teammate as well, and Van Erven, and Brufair, and Leveche as well, as they lap now the ghosted car of Josh Idaru, who has had a really terrible day. And we'll unfortunately not see him get to the end as Matteo gets a big oversteer moment through Lesmo 1. Heading into Lesmo 2 now. Matteo has got loads of ERS. He's got 95% charge, but Moreno has got the same amount of charge. And again, moving out of the slipstream of Moreno. Interesting tactics here from Matteo. He's quite happy to sit behind and not going to go for that overtake because Moreno will just try and get him straight back. So interesting stuff to watch. Caraton's putting the pressure on. Van Erven's putting the pressure on as well. It's a real train happening here, and nobody wants to be the one to break it.
No, certainly not. You can see Matteo once again trying to dodge the slipstream of Alvaro Caraton, who still wants to win this. And it's hotting up now because here comes Caraton. In this time, Nicholas Matteo's luck might have just run out for him here because Domenico Leveche as well has just landed the fastest lap. And here comes Caraton, who is finding a lot more straight line speed on his teammate, but still Nicholas Matteo shuts the door. Moreno now has caused a little bit of a backlog as Nicholas Longe retires from the session. He is out of the race. Renault are now one-legged with Andreas Dahlmeier, but just look at this string of cars. Moreno is holding them all back here, but also don't forget Nicholas Matteo in jeopardy now. He's in a very difficult place. He's got his teammate who's looking incredibly quick in behind him now, heading into the Roger chicane. They're all in tandem. In behind as well, Mattis van Erven. There's plenty of prospects here for an overtake here, Jack. Only one mistake can make this happen, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. Lap 16 of 27.
Yeah, and after all the pit stop, of course, he's yet to make one, but Tom Martinez is leading this race for Ferrari. So Ferrari have led at least one lap here at Monza, so the Tifosi will be happy at least in this one. But back to this battle again. This is great. This is the top six in a big long train. And Philip Preschneider is just not able to get up to that. In fact, he's been under pressure now from Tymon Schutte in 9th place. So even more points going down the drain for Philip Preschneider unless something happens up front. Leveche is looking on Brufair. But who's going to be the one to try and get this one? I think Moreno's putting the push on now, George. Look at him now, using up his ERS. Pulls the gap out to 0.8 of a second. Moreno fastest lap in this one. So he's now putting the hammer down with 10 laps to go. And now Matteo, what he's doing is he's trying to force Matteo to use his ERS even more. Leveche, does he go for it on Brufair? No, he can't, and doesn't do it this time. But he's there trying to force them to use up their ERS at this moment in time. Moreno's now trying to put the hammer down.
Yeah, certainly Moreno has only one thing on his mind. He needs to break the DRS, certainly here on Nicholas Matteo. This is now, they are as they are now. P1 for Danny Moreno on track. In behind him, Nicholas Matteo, but still the gap remains. Near 0.3 of a second, a little slide there from Matteo as he made his way out of the Roger chicane. They're now around the first Lesmo. Very soon around the second Lesmo. Still Moreno leads the way. In behind Nicholas Matteo, who's currently around about 5 tenths back on him. His teammate Alvaro Caraton is behind him too, about the same gap separates them. In behind Mattis van Erven, trying to stay clued into the two Williamses ahead of him as well. Valentin Brufair in P5 with Domenico Leveche looking menacing in behind him as well. There's literally equal deltas between the top 7, 8. In fact, it's the top 8 who are literally separated by a minimal gap. Tymon Schutte has gained an extraordinary amount to come and join the party as well. So this is absolutely incredible. Andreas Dahlmeier with a 3-second penalty. But I get a feeling here that Matteo might be in trouble here. He cannot lose Moreno. If he does, that will cost him majorly, and it'll give Moreno every chance of winning this Grand Prix.
He's biding his time though. You can see him. He's just diving left and right, just trying to get himself out of the slipstream. But now, crucially, Preschneider is in DRS. I watched him. He put a mega lap in that time to get on the back of Leveche. Tymon Schutte is following him. So the top 8, as you mentioned, in a train now for the race win, and any of them could take it. Moreno, of course, has the penalty. Tymon Schutte has the penalty. So it's Matteo and Caraton fighting for it in the results page of this one as well. Van Erven's in there too. Brufair on the back of them. Leveche and Preschneider and Schutte. But now Preschneider has a big opportunity now. Of course, he will lead the championship heading into the next round, but not by as much as he could have done. But he needs to get as many points as he can on Barry Bourmand for that man's return. We hope shortly. But Moreno's still leading this one, managing this beautifully. But there's less than 10 laps to go. 9 across the line. and it is an 8-car train for the win in PSGL.
It is indeed. They round into the Ascari chicane. We're running on board with Mattis van Erven. Time penalty applied yet again to Danny Moreno. Another 3 seconds. Now that is going to cost him. It was heading out the Ascari chicane. Now surely this opens the door for Williams now. And Nicholas Mateo with the potential to score a victory here in the PSGL PC Championship, albeit though Alvaro Caraton is in P3, beginning to probe on his teammates as well as they round heading up towards the start-finish straight. Alvaro Caraton in behind his teammates. You can see Nicholas Mateo once again dodging to the inside, trying to dodge any potential move here on himself for that P2 spot. But there you can see Nicholas Mateo heading into the Retifilio chicane. He wants this, he needs this, and he's got Caraton who wants it just as much. You get the feeling, Jack, there'll be no team orders here for this Italian Grand Prix.
Yeah, and the fact that Moreno's got 2 penalties, that will not get removed. So Mateo in second place, Caraton in third, but now that will turn to first and second. Mateo gets sideways through there. This is getting really interesting right now, coming through the Lesmo 1 and Lesmo 2, 8 cars fighting for the win, and possibly we could maybe even shortly add in Andreas Dormeyer, Dario Yamulo, Chanakinchi into this one if they manage to close the gap, and they're on, of course, younger soft compound tires. So this is going to be absolutely mental to the end, but Moreno, uncharacteristic. 2 penalties to his name. Mateo needs to bide his time, but Caraton, I've been watching him, he's getting incredibly close through Parabolica each time. Let's watch him do the same thing again. Late on the brakes, he'll get right on the diffuser of his teammate through here, but again, backs off this time. But this is anyone's game now. Moreno will not win this one unless he, of course, manages to get a steward's inquiry, but it is going to be between the 2 Williams, the Mercedes, and now in the background, Lavecchia getting really close to Brufair down the straight. Does he go for it? He's thinking about it. Overtake on down towards the first chicane, looks to the inside. Does he go for it? He thinks about it, but he can't get alongside that Alfa Romeo. But now this is interesting because look, Dario Yamulo gets past Andreas Dormer, and now he's in DRS. We have 10 cars for the win.
Yeah, 10 cars in the midst of a P1 spot. They were all challenging here. There could be anything that can happen here that could really change this result. Chop and change it, certainly. Moreno in jeopardy of falling out of the top 10 here is going sideways. Valentin Brufair, Thymon Shooter picks up another 3-second time penalty. Again, not ideal. We head back up to the top end for the battle for the lead, and still in front is Danny Moreno, at least on track for now. You can see there Nicholas Mateo in P2, in behind his teammate Alvaro Caraton, who is just waiting patiently for any mistake. In mind as well, you've got Mattis van Erven as well as Valentin Brufair. It's an open book, folks. It's the Monza, well, certainly the Italian Grand Prix here at Monza. We cannot wait to see this finish. 7 laps remaining. It's going to be a magical 7 laps, folks. Do not take your eyes away from this one.
Here comes Yamulo up the inside of time and shoots into the Parabolica side by side. There you go. The Italian gets him on the inside. That's an 8th place for Yamulo. He's on 3-lap-old soft tires. They are the freshest of anybody's. He's going to be on a mega charge here down towards turn 1. Shooter trying to come back at him straight away. Looks like no moves up front, but Dario Yamulo, the Italian, he's now up into this position. Shooter tries to get back at him, nudges him through this first chicane, and he can't do it. But Dario Yamulo, 4-lap-old soft tires. He has got a penalty to his name, but this could be a great result. He's going to try and carve his way through this field now.
He is indeed. Great move indeed from Yamulo there, and holding his position as well for P8. That is absolutely exceptional. He's up 3 places, you can see from our graphic. Alvaro Caraton once again getting close to his teammate Nicholas Mateo, heading around the Roger chicane, but still they remain as they are right now. Around the first Lesmo, the 2 Williams is in tandem. Around the second Lesmo, once again, Danny Moreno still leads the charge, albeit with 6 seconds of time penalties applied to him right now. In mind as well, Nicholas Mateo, but here comes Caraton. A potential move here for P2 as they get up to the Ascari, but once again Mateo shuts the door, holds on to that position for this moment in time. But you have to think that he is literally on a wire right now. Every chance for moves to be made here as we now reach the grand finale here in this Italian Grand Prix. And I gotta say, I'm on the edge of my seat, Jack. I cannot bear to watch at this moment in time. It could all go wrong, but yet it could also go so right as well.
Didn't I tell you this is going to be Silverstone on steroids? 6 laps to go. We've 10 cars in a train, and all of a sudden Dylan Warren's joined it now in 10th. He's on a big charge, gets past Time and shoots it. Now we're trying to get in past Andreas Dormeyer. Can't do it into turn one, but Dylan Warren now firmly in the fight now. Dario Yamula on the back of Philip Preschner now, who's on course for some good points at least. But who is going to get this win? It's going to be between these guys up front. Matteo getting really close to Moreno, coming through the Curva Grande into the second chicane. Not close enough to go for a move right now. They were very close into Ascari. Carroton thought about it, but didn't want to try it around the outside of Ascari. You got to be very brave. Made a small error there, Carroton. So Van Erven gets even closer to him, coming through Lesmo 1. Through Lesmo 2 they come for the 22nd time today. Moreno still in the lead of this one and has 2 penalties to his name, but this is still anybody's game. 5 laps to go across the line. Van Erven, he's challenging Carroton, but can't get alongside him as they head into Ascari. There's still plenty of time left for moves on, but this is going to get very hectic in these last 5 laps.
Yeah, this is going to be very important for Mercedes. Indeed, they're currently P4 in the Constructors' Championship right now. And there you can see Alvaro Carreton in P3 in a little bit of jeopardy of his own here, as you now see the 2 Red Bulls coming into the fray as Preschneider at the mercy of Dario Iamulo now as they head round the parabolic and they touch. Preschneider going for a ride. The Slovakian holds on, but he loses that P7 position, and Dario Iamulo, 2 moves made around the parabolic bend. He feels comfortable round there. A phenomenal move, Jack.
Pull around the outside of the parabolic and Yamulo gets it done, and Dormeyer goes for it, can't do it in the first chicane. George, there are 12 cars in contention for the win right now as Flores Fire spins in turn 1, loops that car around. 11 cars in the hunt for the win right now. Dylan Warren and Ruben Vallejo on the cusp of the points right now, but Mateo's getting really close now to Moreno with 5 laps to go. 11 cars in contention for the win, but Yamulo's on a big charge. Next up on his list, Domenico Levecce, his teammate, but how far can he get up? Because he's got 3 seconds of penalty, so he will drop down unless he gets that removed in the steward's room. But down towards Ascari they come once again. Moreno with a decent gap over Nicolas Matteo this time, has about enough in hand, I think, to keep himself in front. They will settle down on this lap. No moves to be made this time, but the Racing Point, what a recovery those guys have made.
Yeah, I have to say, it's been absolutely incredible. Dylan Warren driving an exceptional race, certainly to recover from where he was before on track, as well as Ruben Vallejo. And there you can see Dylan Warren with an exceptional move on the inside, heading into Parabolica, dispatches Andreas Dormeyer in an acceptable fashion. There you can see Dario Iamulo as well, looking to do a move on his teammate. That's Domenico Levecce, heading down towards turn 1, and he gets it done on the straight line speed on that Red Bull. Fast and furious indeed for Iamulo. And he's up in a P6. Superb stuff indeed. It's hotting up here at Monza.
Yeah, Yamulo, what a drive. What if he didn't have the penalty? This would be an insane comeback from him. But Dylan Warren back into the points in 9th place, doing a really great job. Ruben Vallejo, he's trying to get himself in the points, and Andreas Dormeyer as well. But Levecce trying to come back at his teammate here into the second chicane they come, and not enough to get through right now. Carroton, he was desperate to get out of the DRS of Van Erven. They were momentarily out of DRS into turn 1, but of course, Van Erven dragging himself back in there, but Yamulo now on those fresher soft tires, but they will be getting to the end of their life right now. He's going to have to be really making these work early now, trying to get as many positions as he can. Next up on the list is Valentin Bruffair, and Preschneider is now in danger of dropping out of the points once again because Dylan Warren all over him. Dormeyer right in there. Bruffair gets a penalty now as well. That's going to hurt him big time. He's out of contention for that win right now. So it's now between Matteo, Carroton and Van Erven for the win here at Monza.
It is, certainly is, and we're now seeing pictures here. Alvaro Carreton heading around the Parabolica bend, still in the midst of his teammate, Nicolas Matteo. And I have to say, this is absolutely brilliant. Just look at the gains and losses there on your screens there, folks. Danny Moreno making 5 places, albeit he might lose it, as you can now see Nicolas Matteo slowly gaining on the Mercedes. A surprise move on the outside from Carreton. Oh my word, a little tap on the rear of that car, and there's Amulo looking for another move here, this time on Valentin Bruffair, and he's up. I believe he is, but it's Van Erven in jeopardy here from Valentin Bruffair now. The Alfa Romeo around the outside of the Curva Grande. Is it going to be a Grande move? It certainly is. Valentin Bruffair up into P4, an exceptional drive. Manius Erven taken by surprise. He's down in P5.
I was just looking at the same time, Yamulo threw it down the inside of one car there, but of course ended up running out wide and now ends up back behind Preschneider, losing spots now in this one. But we will have 2 laps to go at Monza when we go across the line next time. 11 cars in a long train here. Basically, the entire field is still in the train that they started in. Oh, a big moment from Brufair. Massive slide. He's going to lose that spot to Van Erven now. How on earth did he hang on to that through Ascari? But he loses the spot to Van Erven that he just gained. He's going to lose it on penalties anyway. Swap between the racing points. Vallejo goes round the outside of Dylan Warren, and they're both in the points now. 2 laps to go at Monza. It's Caraton versus Matteo for the win. Of course, Moreno with the double penalty can't do. Brufair around the outside of Van Erven. Here he comes around the outside and into turn number 1, into the rectifield chicane. Inside line for Van Erven, can't do it. But 2 laps to go. Who's going to win it between the Williams?
They certainly will. It's going to get tight here, Jack, now. And then you can see Alvaro Caraton sign a roam up on his teammate once again as they head round the Curva Grande. They're about to come down towards the Roger chicane. Can he get the straight line speed? I think Nicholas Matteo might just be able to hold on here. He certainly does. They make their way around the Roger. Nicholas Matteo has driven such an exceptional Grand Prix and certainly an exceptional race. No penalties applied to his Williams right now as they round the first Lesmo. It'll be a Cinderella story if the young Nicholas Matteo can do the business here at Monza. He's driven absolutely superb, and there you can see Andreas Tolmeier with a 3-second time penalty of his own. Danny Moreno still leading the way, as you can now see Matteo coming into the Ascari chicane. Alvaro Caraton, his fellow countryman, in P3 as well. The Williams team looking on in amazement as both their cars start to try and tipple the top end. They're quality drivers with some quality cars in behind them as well. As they run the Parabolica, we're going to have one final lap, Jack. What can we expect?
Last lap here at Monza, settle in, here we go. Last lap here in Italy, and Moreno leads. Matteo second, Caraton third, but it's now going to be all or nothing for Matteo and Caraton. Here comes Matteo, he's going to go for it on track on Moreno. If they come towards turn 1, has to sit behind, can't do it, and they come through the first chicane once again, but the entire field is in a train right now, apart from Josh Hardiman, who disconnected, of course. Moreno hangs on with the double penalty for now, but it is going to be, I think, enough maybe for Matteo to hang on, but is he going to go for through Curva Grande down towards the second chicane to the Della Roggia? Can't get alongside that Mercedes. He's keeping patient, keeping it very sensible in this last lap of the race. But it is Moreno in front, Matteo second, Caraton third, Van Erven in fourth, Brufair with the penalty in fifth, Leveche is sixth, but will be fifth on track once they get across the start-finish line. But it is now going to be a run for the line between these 2 Williams cars and the Mercedes of Van Erven. But Caraton, great run down towards Ascari, but not enough to get alongside his teammate. Here they come towards Ascari in the last lap of the Italian Grand Prix. What a race we've had. The race of the season, maybe, versus Silverstone. Caraton, what a run he's got through Ascari. Overtake on. Here he goes, down towards the Parabolica chicane. Tries to pull alongside his teammate here, but can he do enough towards the Parabolica chicane? It's going to be now a fight to the line between these 3 cars, but is it enough for a contact between the teammates? Sideways for Caraton. Here they come towards the line. It's going to be Moreno in front on penalties, but it will be Nicholas Matteo who will win the Italian Grand Prix. Caraton second, Van Erven in third, Leveche fourth, and Preschnader in fifth. Ruben Vallejo, Dylan Warren, and Tom Martinez in eighth. What a finish. Matteo gets it on the line.
A Cinderella story here at Monza. Nicholas Matteo picks up the victory here at the PSGL PC Championship Italian Grand Prix after Danny Moreno picks up 2 time penalties. The Spaniard got it done and takes victory here for Williams. An incredible race, and credit as well to his teammate Alvaro Caraton. It's a Williams 1 and 2, something we haven't seen in so many years, and it's absolutely brilliant to see it now. George Russell and Nicholas Latifi would be proud. In P3 as well, Mattis Van Erven celebrates in the Mercedes. Several youngsters here today have actually done their utmost to challenge the best of them here today, and you've got 2 Challenger Series drivers up on the podium. It's absolutely brilliant to see. Nicholas Matteo is P1, Alvaro Caraton in P2, Mattis Van Erven P3, Domenico Leveche P4, Philip Preschnader in P5, Ruben Vallejo P6, Dylan Warren in P7. A phenomenal drive as well from him. The 2 Racing Points did absolutely brilliant here today. Tom 97, Tom Martinez, he got a top 10. Valentin Brufair, P9. Dario Iamula, after his titanic rise through the field, got punished with a penalty, P10. Danny Moreno, after that, those 2 penalties dropped down to P11. Chad Akinci, P12. Jorge Alberola, P13. And Andreas Dormeyer, P14. Of course, Josh Idaru, who left us earlier on after that real difficult first couple of laps, he, of course, finished P15. Floris Viers, Thyman Shooter, Nicholas Longe, Lewis Welch, Julian Naumann, all DNF from the race. But Jack, I'm breathless, I'm speechless, I'm amazed. What did we just see? Nicolas Mateo, a Cinderella story, P1 for the young Spanish driver.
Absolutely deserved. But look at that. Danny Moreno dropping 10 spots after that. Took the win on track, but what a drive from Nicolas Mateo. Caraton as well, fighting it out with his teammate. But how about Tom Martinez? What a drive. He started on the last row of the grid, kept his head down, and got himself 8th place. Great job by Tom. And Dylan Warren, 14th up to 7th. Ruben Vallejo, 15th up to 6th. The Racing Points drove an amazing race and absolutely deserve that top 10 finish. But I mean, that is incredible. I need to get the shot of all those guys crossing the line at the same time. Insane. 600 between Caraton and Van Erven across the line. But wow. I told you it was going to be Silverstone on steroids, and we certainly bloody delivered.
Oh, I cannot believe what we have just seen tonight, folks. It's been absolutely unbelievable. We witnessed great racing here at PSGL every Thursday, every week, and without fail. And after, we didn't think it could get any better than Silverstone last week, but it simply did. It was absolutely brilliant. And I have to say, a treat to watch as well. It's a pleasure just commentating these races here today. And certainly, Jack, you'll certainly, I'd imagine, say the same as me. We get to witness such majestic and truly incredible racing every week without fail. It's brilliant to watch. We did think we could top Silverstone. I think we got pretty close tonight. A Cinderella story is just what PSGL needs, and it's been given to us by that man, Nicolas Mateo, Williams' hero here today. And I have to give him great credit. I've witnessed him race before in previous leagues. We've commentated on him several times before, Jack. You've got to give the young man credit.
Yeah, absolutely. He delivers when he gets his head down, and that was a great drive. Very measured, very controlled. Dealt with the pressure from Caraton and managed it beautifully to Danny Moreno, who still took it on track. So he'll take that any day. But the penalties hurting him massively in that one. But Nicolas Mateo, Caraton, as well as Van Erven putting on a great display as well. Brufair, shame for him getting the penalty as well. But that was absolutely mental. That's as good as you're going to get around Monza. DRS trains, and it gets insane in the last 5 laps as per usual. And it's why we love it. I mean, that is going to be great to watch. But of course, Preschnader scored points. Therefore, he is your new championship leader heading into the next round as well.
Yeah, he is your P1 sitter in the championship, folks. Philip Preschnader, of course, had a very difficult race as well. Didn't quite go all his way. And I think Ferrari, of course, would have wanted maybe a little bit better for their car heading around Italy. But Philip Preschnader gaining those important points that sees him go ahead of Barry Burremand in the championship. And therefore, Barry's got to try and recoup it back. We'll see if he does come back in this championship and reclaim his P1 spot. But you'll have to wait to see that, of course. We are waiting to see if we're going to get any interviews, of course, for this live broadcast as well. I'd imagine we've got a very jubilant Nicolas Mateo who put his absolute everything into that performance tonight, and he deserves the absolute most credit in the world. You've got to give credit as well to Mattis Van Erven as well, Jack. He kept himself in the frame as well. Was very much up with them, and obviously we know what these DRS trains are all about here in sim racing. It's very tough to get out of them, and you have to make a very, very key move, but it can go either way, so it's a very huge risk. So you've got to give Mattis Van Erven credit for holding on tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Just having a look now at the post-race stats. Nicolas Mateo, of course, his first victory in PSGL. Alvaro Caraton shows the consistency, his 3rd podium of the season as well. It's also his best result of 2nd. He hasn't quite been able to get that win. So second place for him. Van Erven, of course, best results for him as well. Leveche, his best result. Vallejo, his best result as well. So great stuff for all those guys as well. And I think fastest lap was Flores Fires, but of course he DNF'd as well. But yeah, big day for all those guys, and they really showed what they can do. And awesome to watch the whole way through that one as well. And it's going to be a great end to this championship. Of course, we head to Suzuka next week. That's going to be certainly a fun one. But just looking here, George, I believe there's two guys standing by. I believe we have Alvaro and Matthias are both standing by in the voice chat. So I'll just drag who you want to talk to first.
Oh, I don't mind. Well, bring them both in. Let's have them both in the chat. Here we are. There they are, guys. I'd like to welcome Alvaro Caraton and Mattis Van Erven to the VC here in the commentary box. And I can see that Mattis has already got his mic primed and ready. Mattis, P3 on the day. Very interesting race. You held it together, though. And I have to say, in great fashion. Give us your thoughts on that one.
Yeah, thank you, first of all. Yeah, I'm very happy, obviously, with P3 after a very good qualifying. But I think there was more in it. I was held in the pits massively. Um, I was ahead of Caraton in the pits, and my AI out of nowhere just stopped to let him by, and that cost me like 3 positions. So I had to follow the guys in front. Hard to overtake, obviously, in the train. So just try to keep it clean on the penalties. And yeah, just follow them. And yeah, Danny had a penalty, so P3 at the end.
Absolutely. Well, I have to say, it was very tough. But like you say, it's not ideal when you're in the midst of certainly a DRS train to make that move. You almost have to make. It's very daring, isn't it? And it doesn't always go your way. You have to really pick your spot. And certainly with the quality of drivers we have here, it's just so difficult to make that key move. Looking back, obviously that move you were saying in the pit lane, that was definitely the catalyst for you. Did you think that you were in a good position to win that race had that switch not happened?
Yeah, because if I wasn't held, I would have been, I think, P1 on the pit exit. Or yeah, P2 or something just behind Danny. So yeah, that was obviously a better position to win at the end, because from P4 with guys of this caliber, it's yeah, impossible to overtake really.
Yeah, I mean, how was the pressure, of course, because I know you were in the midst of trying to overtake Alvaro, but obviously there was a lot going on in behind as well. Dario Emilio was making some really, really audacious moves as well. Valentin Bruffair working his way up the grid as well. Did you at all feel in jeopardy going through towards the final laps of the race? Because it got a bit saucy, didn't it, towards the end?
Yeah, I think Domi hit me in the first corner. That made me lose a position to Valentin. But later the lap I overtook him again because he made a mistake. And because of that I was out of ERS in lap 25 or something already. So yeah, the guys in front were so quick, it's just not possible to overtake if you have less ERS.
Well, I think given the circumstances, I think you drove an exceptional race, and credit to you as well, because obviously we witnessed the young talents coming through, and certainly you're one of them. But love seeing your work as well with Alfa Romeo. Obviously looking ahead as well. What are your plans going forward? Obviously, you're a very hot prospect, I think, for the future. Obviously, eyes on F1 esports, I'd imagine. Am I right in assuming that?
Yeah, hopefully. I've got nothing yet, but yeah, hopefully it will come this year or next year.
Well, that's good to hear, and I'd imagine as long as you keep on putting performances like that up, I'm sure you'll deserve it. But I want to say congratulations on a great P3, Matt. It's truly deserved, and I hope we'll see more of that again.
Thank you, man.
Well done. Well done. Next up, Alvaro Caraton joins us in the commentary box, and of course, Williams finishing in a great Ps 1 and 2 position. Alvaro, we seldom see Williams win in real life, or certainly in recent years, gaining certainly in the points, but yourself and Nicholas did a great job today. You must have been delighted.
Yeah, good night, everyone. Yes, it was a good race, but obviously I wanted the win.
Yeah, we certainly saw heading towards the, into the Ascari chicane. You tried to give Nicholas a run for his money, heading down the straight before the Parabolica. Was it the case you just could not quite get the straight line speed to get the move done?
Basically, I lost the race when Nico and Danny pitted, and I battled with Mathix in turn 1. So we lost time and we lost the race. And then, yeah, with DRS train and a lot of ERS, it was almost impossible to overtake. I tried, but yeah, I know Nico and Danny are good friends, so obviously they will help each other. So yeah, still happy.
Yeah, no, I have to say, going back to what you were saying, Monza are obviously very, very difficult. Naturally, most circuits, you'd like to think the corners make the difference where it comes to making moves. Unfortunately, at Monza, I think you're in a situation, if you don't have the straight line speed, you can't necessarily make the move. Would you say that's a fair assessment of today's race?
No, my straight line speed was good, but thing is that you overheat the engine, and the driver in front of you has also DRS and slipstream and ERS, so we are in the same condition, and it's like almost impossible. You need to do something crazy or dive bomb, which I didn't want to, because obviously we get on well, nice, and obviously I didn't want to crash, and it would have been a double Spanish podium, so yeah, still P2, great.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a tremendous result. Williams P1 and 2 as well. Just looking at the future as well for yourself. Obviously, I like to talk a little bit about F1 esports in the future. Obviously, I believe you're still remaining at the Williams camp for now. All things confident in the camp. Looking forward to a new season.
Yeah, looking forward to next season. Yeah, I'll be there, 100%.
Good man. Are we going to be seeing some Alvaro Carreton P1s at all in F1 esports?
That's another thing, but obviously it's our ambition. So yeah, we need to work hard.
Well, I want to see it, Alvaro. I want to see it. But congratulations on a great P2, mate, and an excellent result for Williams as well. And we'll look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alvaro. So there we are, Jack. I don't think we're going to get to see Nicholas Matteo. It's a shame because I would love to have interviewed him after that one. But I have to say, credit to all the teams. It was a tremendous battle, and we enjoyed commentating on it, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. As it's going to be a great end of this championship. We have basically a wide open championship now. We have Philip at the head of the field, Barry Borman behind him, and Josh Ridley. I mean, he's had that's his worst race of the season right there. Bad qualifying and ended up breaking the wing on lap number 1. Ended up not finishing at all, no points whatsoever, and that will drop him down the order a little bit in the championship as well with a no score. Of course, he had just having a quick check here of the standings. He was just in front of Otmir, who wasn't here, but Nicholas Matteo might be equal or ahead of him now in the championship. So Nicholas Matteo, I think, has just moved himself into 4th in the championship after that. And Alvaro Carreton, let's not forget, he's 3rd in the championship, and that's going to now bring him right into the title fight as well. So Philip Preschner now leads. Barry Borman 2nd on 51. Actually, these are the live points now. 57 for Philip Preschner. Barry Borman 2nd on 51. Alvaro Carreton 44 points. Josh Ridley 43. And Jarno Wotmir on 40 points. Nicholas Matteo moves himself into 6th in the championship, but now 6 points between the top 2. And Alvaro Carreton is very much a contender now, 13 points off the lead.
Well, I got to say that really does heat things up because now the title fight is going to be stretched across so many drivers in this championship, folks. And we're going to be heading to Japan for your next race. Love a bit of Suzuka as well. And the Williams team historically don't mind a bit of Suzuka as well. I hark back to Damon Hill. And I think obviously myself and Jack, I think it's only fair to say that given recent press as well, and I talk about Damon Hill and the Japanese Grand Prix, it brings me on to Murray Walker as well. And we obviously... myself and Jack, I'm sure Jack would say the same, us all at PSGL, and I'm sure all the drivers and everybody in the chat as well would like to pass our condolences on to the family of Murray Walker, who sadly passed away at the age of 97 as well, which was a great shame indeed. Definitely a hero of myself and, of course, Jack's, and I'd imagine many of you as well alike. So, Murray, from me personally, and I'm sure many others, pedal to the metal, go, 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 go. Onwards and upwards, my friend, and I'm sure... we'll get to hear your voice as well very, very soon when we all maybe meet again. But no, I have to say, a true hero and a true F1 great. Sadly, that's left our mortal curl, unfortunately. But Jack, any final thoughts from you with regards to Murray Walker?
Yeah, obviously ditto to that, and as well, there's a small project that myself and a couple of others within the league community have been working on a tribute to him. So keep an eye out for that on Twitter as well. So looking forward to hopefully sharing that with you very shortly. But yeah, obviously he was a big inspiration to me as well. He kind of retired just as I was obviously very young, but I was watching F1 when I was very, very young. So I still remember his voice. And his voice will always be the voice of Formula One. I mean, there will never be another one within my mind, of course. But yeah, absolutely, he was an inspiration to us all, and we pass on our big condolences to his family, and of course, it was an honor to have him so alert and still so sharp at the in his later years, that he was still able to give punditry and still keep an eye on all the races. And it is sad that the opening round of this championship will be the first race that Murray Walker has not seen. So it's going to be unfortunate for that, but I'm sure there'll be a big tribute for him when we get there. But yeah, obviously he will be remembered, and we will never forget him.
No, we certainly won't. And got to say, we'll definitely look forward to any, obviously, memoriam that the F1 puts out. I certainly will watch anything with great interest surrounding that man. He was absolutely essential to Formula One's greatness. and deserves every credit for me being in this seat. For all those drivers out on track as well. He played a polarizing figure in creating the world we are in today within Formula One. So credit to you, Murray. Do take care and rest in peace as well. But folks, next week we're heading to Japan for the Japanese Grand Prix, and like I said, it's going to be hotting up with the championship still very much in contention. Please don't forget to leave a like and a subscribe as well below, folks. I've been George Morgan, he's been Jack Kinnan. We'll see you next time for more racing here at PSGL. Goodbye.